ease my brain. There's no time to bait. Climb out the sheets, find the jeans from a previous day. Grab the keys from off the counter, commute into the city, gonna take another hour. Man, I hate trading time for a way. At least I got a home and a job that pays. Faded from color, reaching to find when I wonder how. You're saying it'll all be fine, while you sit around and waste your time. Faded from color, stuck in the backseat and told to drive.
Certainly is done you good. You look like a child. Well, thank you very much, Johnson. I've been very lucky down here. Feeling better than I did up north.
Collars itching, faces twitching, another cup of joe and I'm fine. Come 5, I can burn a fresh dime. Lifting up the burdens, putting weight on my mind. Bet if I didn't chase that and embrace distractions, master my lack of faith and break through. Faded from color, reaching to find when I wonder how. You're saying it'll all be fine, while you sit around and waste your time. Faded from color, stuck in the backseat and told to drive. I'm holding out as I fight. I feel my colors wash away. Been finding my ground in the light of the hours I can't blame. 'Cause in time I restore my complexion and find that I left my distractions behind. In the meantime, I'll blindfold my pride and keep hold of my time like it's gold. Faded from color, reaching to find when I wonder how. You're saying it'll all be fine, while you sit around and waste your time. Faded from color, stuck in the backseat and told to drive.
You feel like something new. You feel like something. You feel like something new. You feel like something. Don't just stop it. Doing what you do. When I lay back, holding on to you. Ooh, ooh. Feel like something new. Yeah. Got my senses here on overload. All my body is for you to hold. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Feel like something new. Yeah. And I never thought that you got me wanted. Never thought that never thought that ooh. Never thought that that I'd be saying you feel more like a dream, yeah. You feel like something new. You feel like something. You feel like something new. You feel like something. I feel like I'm in another galaxy. Take my time in your eternity. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Feel like something new. Yeah. And I never thought that you got me wanted. Never thought that
think that's so overrated. Yeah, if you make one, you will fall. Too much of a temptation. Yeah, there's a comfort in the crawl. Now I've been on my feet too long. I know I'm strong, just looking for some solid ground, so I can start to run. I don't wanna be tired, moving so bad. Yeah. La 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 la. Yeah. Your life hits hard, but I hit right back. I never back down, I keep it on track. It's the same day with no problems. I keep rising from the bottom, 'cause when the sun comes up and I look around, I can feel that love, I can hear that sound. They're never gonna hold me down, I'm higher than the ceiling now. And then I need to worry about, 'cause I got no problems. I know it's gonna be alright, it's getting better every time. Nobody's gonna kill my vibe, 'cause I got no problems. Yes, every day was a war. Yeah, it kinda took a while. When they tell me I should stay, I just jump with a smile. Yeah, it's hard until you notice. Everybody's got their moment. When the sun comes up and I look around, I can feel that love, I can hear the sound. Listen up. They're never gonna hold me down, I'm higher than the ceiling now. And then I need to worry about, 'cause I got no problems. I know it's gonna be alright, it's getting better every time. Nobody's gonna kill my vibe, 'cause I got no problems. 'Cause I got no problems. 'Cause I got no problems. Do you feel a little down? Say it. No problems. That you in but you out. Sing it. No problems. They're never gonna hold me down, I'm higher than the ceiling now. Had none I need to worry about, 'cause I got no problems. They're never gonna hold me down, I'm higher than the ceiling now. Had none I need to worry about, 'cause I got no problems. I know it's gonna be alright, it's getting better every time. Nobody's gonna kill my vibe, 'cause I got no problems. I'm bulletproof, don't ever lose. Put the evil in the devil, let him let it loose. I'm an earthquake, make your bones shake. There's no question I'm the king, I always dominate. A force to be reckoned with, better remember it. Look at what I can do, walking all over you. Incredible, it's criminal, I never lose. I'm bulletproof. Unbeatable, undefeatable, I'm invincible.
bulletproof.
I pack my suitcase, headed out the door, I keep my shoes laced. 2,000 miles away from home, a couple dollars in my pocket, never stopped the boy before. I load my bags and hit the road. Miles past, turning back, found my track, face the fact, she a cold one. Never gonna settle for none, stay up every night till I won. Don't want a slow rise now, I'm confident opulence isn't a long ride out. When I look back now, I'm astounded. A quiet boy from old age, but always thought the world was a stage, yeah. I celebrate one last late night, my old life, ain't staying. I pack my suitcase, headed out the door, I keep my shoes laced. 2,000 miles away from home, a couple dollars in my pocket, never stopped the boy before. I load my bags and hit the road. I'm headed to LA.
Miles, throw it on the dash. Shit, the 10,000 hours, can't let them pass. Yeah, well, I was putting time in, you was pulled up wildin'. You always had shit to say, now when I see you, it's silence. Thought I have a Grammy by 25. Commas after commas next to dollar sign, yeah. Remind myself why I'm living this life. Look at all the late nights, it'll all come in due time, yeah.
Made for the fight, for the pain and the climb. Tied to the life I chose. Stay through the night, another day, not a dime. Race against time. I couldn't just lay by and wonder what I could have made mine. I'm closing on the moment, no one's gonna hold me down. I pack my suitcase, headed out the door, I keep my shoes laced. 2,000 miles away from home, a couple dollars in my pocket, never stopped the boy before. I load my bags and hit the road. Days gone, I won't waste another one. Oh, that darkness, it won't set me back again. Oh, I'm not asleep or awake. I won't let the future escape. Take me back to you. Shake the ground. Oh, this lightness, it will fill the air around. Oh, I'm not asleep or awake. I won't let the future escape. Back to you.
Good evening, everyone. We're back for more ESL Challenger League action. And a bit of a mouthful. This is the Stage 2 low seed group, lower bracket, semi-final. So, last chance for some of these two teams to make it through to the playoffs. My name is Trav. Alongside me is Yumi, the one and only, for Copenhagen Wolves versus Rebels.
Yeah, this will be an interesting game because both these teams are a little bit in a bit of capitulation, right? I mean, Copenhagen Wolves are definitely one that people I think were excited about towards the start of the year, maybe towards the end of last year more so. We were sort of seeing a bit of a ramp up, but now we're seeing some weird roster moves and trying to plug the gap that kind of an Andu-sized gap in this team at the moment, while the Rebels have been kind of steadily chugging along and I think improving. They've had some also pretty bad results as of late. I think they might have improved in some sense, but they're not finding the results with it.
No, yeah, I mean, right now the state of both is not great. I think Copenhagen Wolves, immediately when the loan for Andu from Gamer Legion did end, it was like, okay, they just started losing straight away. I mean, they've got some stand-ins in play, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. But reminder, of course, on the B stream today, we've got a very high-quality matchup, actually. Aurora versus Monty. Aurora coming off winning Galaxy Battle. They're right on the edge of qualifying for the MRQ. I think they're a few points away. They lost a bad game to one win the other day in the Bet Boom Land to Land qualifier, which meant that dropped them down a little way. So they need to bounce back, and Monty, their opponent, has a chance to do that. But we're focusing on Copenhagen Wolves versus Rebels. And yeah, I mean, right now for both teams, they do feel like a bit of a mishmash of talent. One is an EU mishmash and one is a Polish one. But Rebels have got some names on the team, of course, which you'll know from way back in the day, like Innocent, for example. And they do have a certain man by the name of Flay, who has got some LAN experience under his belt with some flashy plays too.
Yeah, I think it's always nice to be able to hone in on the AWPers for teams. It very clearly sort of outlines where the team is at, you know, whether that's reflected in rating or impact stats. Usually it's about like positioning and how much they're creating these opportunities. You know, there are some AWPers that will take over games. Flay is not really one of those guys, but if pushed against you know, the back wall, he will find opportunities and he will create some, but he's very frequently kind of there facilitating the rest of the gameplay for the Rebels. And I think when we hone in on AWPers at every tier, it's always a good indicator of how good this team can be or can progress, or whether they can sometimes end up kind of bottlenecked because some AWPers go above and beyond and then they still can't find wins. But right now it just feels like Flay is doing good enough and the Riflers are also good enough. It's just about how much they can sort of refine that system, I think, for the Rebels.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as well that there is some experienced names, not just Innocent either. I mean, like, you've got Kisarek, who's been around this sort of roster for a very, very long time. Sobol has been all over the Polish scene, and Tomiko, of course, most known probably for really coming to the fore on that Los Kogortos team that famously beat Astralis in one of those open qualifiers for the major way back when. And he's been jumping around different Polish teams like Pomita, AGO, even on Into the Breach for a little bit as well for a month when they needed him to stand in before that team capitulated. Obviously had a little time on 9 as well. So he's got some good experience, some good firepower. Sobel's also been around for a very long time at this point, 27 years old now. Played on teams like Illumina and Wisla Krakow, for example. And yeah, I think that Honoris team with Taz and Neo way back when, he was one of the best players on the team back then. But times have changed. I believe we have a chance to look at the Veto in a moment. And yeah, I do think that as we look at the Veto coming in now, there is some good maps here for the polls, and Nuke's definitely one of them.
Yeah, and this Veto would have been very predictable as well. You know, if we look at Copenhagen Wolves and their tendency, you know, it's usually Mirage or Ancient, and when their opponent is fairly decent on Mirage, they don't like to snap into that pick themselves. So Nuke Ancient, very, very expected, and then with that being the Mirage decider, yeah, Rebels do have it. It does feel like an edge in terms of the Veto, but just in terms of general form coming into this game, even if they're the lower ranked team right now on both HLTV's rankings as well as VRS, Rebels, I think, do look a little bit more... They're keeping their head above water, I think, a little bit better than the Wolves are.
Yeah, and that just comes with the pieces that Copenhagen Wolves have, right? I mean, you never really know from one game to the next actually who they're going to be playing with as well. Like, they've been really flip-flopping their roster. Some days they play with Shane, some days they play with Quez. You know, Bailani's pretty much a stalwart alongside Tapeware, but yeah, I think Jaquinho, even though he's a solid part of the team and has a relatively okay base level for this tier of Counter-Strike, Flay does clear him in terms of flashiness and individual ability, in my opinion. So that is going to be the important battle for today, because Flay is, of course, our player to watch, and I'm expecting him to be taking a lot of fights. But if Copenhagen Wolves are to play with Quez today instead of Shane, I do think that it's not a bad call, because Quez is very experienced at this tier after playing with Sashi and Tricked for however many years. But it's still just a mix, it feels, that is struggling to find what their true identity is. Yeah,
and when you're in this constant back and forth of players, it'll always come with new ideas, or, you know, do you even let those new ideas come to the forefront? Do we stick with Tapeware's calling? You know, Jaquinho called for a little bit. You know, Quez, like you said, has been amongst some of those Danish rosters for quite some time, and so he'll have a bunch of ideas about how they structure rounds. It can be very complicated when you have that instability, not only just from like an individual performance metric, but trying to, I guess, filter through what is actually important for you to win rounds in the server. And, you know, maybe they have found a decent talent in Mateos, who has been playing with them for a fair few games now. The sample size is still a little bit limited. I think we were talking about it before we went live. Yeah. But he does seem to have, you know, that sort of entry aggressive prowess to him, which is kind of what they need, I think, given where the rest of this roster is. You know, I'm not ever looking at players like Jaquinho or Tapeware or Bailani to really open up or break through rounds with incredible like bursting plays. They need somebody like that in a sense, because I think otherwise they lack that extra oomph, that extra punch. And Mateo seems to be that punch in the limited pool we have so far.
Yeah, but it was mostly that punch in a mixed team as well. Maybe that's something that he's used to. Maybe that's why we're going to see him play well today. Who knows? But yeah, it was a team that basically had a very limited number of tournament appearances. They mostly played their trade in ESL Advanced playoffs, actually, in the end of their run. And the only team on that LFO, one of many LFO and looking for org team names over the course of history. They had okay performances against TNL, of course, who pushed Falcons so strongly in one of those Dallas qualifiers earlier in the year. They managed to actually play very well against Hester and Betera, and actually had a good game against Amcal as well, which was probably the most impressive of the bunch. But yeah, the only player you'd know from that LFO team was probably Chill, who used to be around the Namiga setup. So yeah, I mean, it's hard when you have a player being thrust into a level like this. Innocent and you know, Innocent and his boys on Rebels aren't exactly a massive tier step up from some of those games they're playing there. But it's also a situation in the league where making these playoffs for Copenhagen Wolves does feel like their ceiling, and I don't expect them to go much further.
Yeah, and the advantage that they'll have in a sense is, and I always used to give this, I guess, this angle for underdogs typically, is that because the Veto is actually very predictable, if they don't come in with something sort of special or targeted towards the Rebels here, I'd be very surprised, given that we find ourselves in this playoffs. It's not like they didn't know that this matchup was coming, and if I believe the Veto is predictable, I don't think anybody is sillier or less intelligent than I am on the organization side, and so they should have something that is targeted for effectively all three of these maps. But Rebels will also have that advantage as well. Like, both teams play the Veto very safe in a sense, and I don't even think there was many avenues through which they could throw a curveball, but there have been none thrown here. And so if we're looking at, you know, the Copenhagen Wolves and their form, maybe that doesn't even actually show itself in the server in the same way that it has in some of the recent results, given that they have that extra lead time and preparation ahead of this matchup.
Yeah, exactly. And also, it deserves to be said, actually, in the group stage, of course, they kind of just, both of them scraped through, right? I mean, the fourth place for Rebels in Group D, and fourth place for Copenhagen Wolves in Group B, which is why they are in the low seed group of this second stage of ESL Challenger League. And yeah, it's a long route through that particular stage to make playoffs. Anyway, game is underway on Nuke. Tapeware toward Heaven, already holding for Kisarek to push up toward him. And he's going to hear the drop down toward Hell. You can actually see two players. It's very awkward to shoot down, though. He actually does well to find one thanks to that. But there is a snake in the grass. Jaquinho, back box on ramp there. Not checking him. Lovely clean tap. There's help from behind him as well. Quez will manage to get that one on Innocent. And that should be round.
This felt very tailored, and I love that immediately. You know, immediate recognition of the outside seeding and losing control of Hell, you know, taking these angles and fighting back into Rebels when they have their back turned. They had some great positions to exploit what was the opening pistol here for Rebels. So, yeah, fantastic setup. Good understanding of how the round was developing, and even though there have been some missed shots, some missed opportunities, this is a very hard round for Flay to recover, and he will be shot in the back all the same. I don't think there were many fair duels here for the Rebels in this pistol, and Copenhagen Flames will be all the happier for it.
Yeah,
Or Wolves. I think I said Flames.
That honestly, that is something that I'll get caught on as well, probably. But Copenhagen Flames are dead, and they're not coming back.
I know
we're brokenhearted about it, but
when I see CPH, my brain.
Listen, I like Copenhagen Flames so much, and I even bought a hoodie of theirs back in the day. So, great org. Miss them. But yeah, in the Copenhagen Wolves era, that is a logo that is a sort of attributed to a lot of Counter-Strike history, of course, involved in some majors back in the day.
It was resurrected.
It was indeed, by a singular man, as far as I know. At least to begin with, anyway. But they will go for 5 A1Ss in round 2 to play the long ranges. Could be risky, considering Rebels are actually going for a full force here without the bomb plant. But Matthias will get the opening on Sobel, and Bieleni actually only gets the one. Good rundown from Flay. That's a rifle that can be picked up, and of course, when you buy all these A1Ss, if you get caught off, that's a significant weapon in the opponent's hands.
And they have got good containment here, but Rebels have time to chew off of this clock. And so if the Wolves are too anxious and start pushing into those flanks while they're being held for, things will get very awkward, but they have dealt with that one recovered rifle. Now drop towards the double doors and safeguarded by Quez. So into a 2-on-4 where these techs are not likely to get much out of it. Innocent caught out. And with Mateos continuing to be aggressive with the spam outside and pushing the limits towards the secret steps, he finds himself with a triple kill in this second round. So the 4 spies dealt with, and the Rebels are going to be forced into a full eco.
I'm not sure I'm a massive enjoyer of the non-bomb plant 4 spy. You have enough utility to get down towards secret, right, usually, but it can be hard to do much after that when the rotations may already be in position. Now Copenhagen Wolves can farm a little bit. Mostly a deco.
I am with you on that. The economy management here for Rebels, it's a bit. I mean, it's overzealous. I think you're trying a little too hard to force something into that second round, and while I understand the logic, it does just mean you. I mean, you do at least get your AWP out. I think for that first gun round, should they decide to go glass cannon with it, which can be an angle, but not my preferred route.
Yeah, and the AWP's not necessarily a necessity, to be fair, on Team Nuke
on
either.
T-side.
So, yeah, not really I'm sure I'm massive enjoyers of that. Quez will push forward, but almost get caught, so he'll make sure to keep himself alive. But there is lobby control and a lobby push for Matthias and Takeware to figure that one out. And that's a very clean start from Copenhagen Wolves. 2 players yet to die. Helps with that early game money, as that can be cancelled very quickly. Rebels looking to get started now.
Yeah, a lot of utility because of their buying route, but they're getting their first proper gun round in round number 4. And, with the way that Mateos has been playing outside, currently 8-0. The guy that we didn't really highlight as the man to watch because we weren't sure if he... I wasn't 100% certain he was going to play, but he started off well, but with Quez falling instantly, there will have to be some ceded ground here for the Wolves, or they'll have to take some back.
Yeah, I mean, if they go for a lobby push in this round, they probably meet a lot of players, but they've already lost Matthias outside. That's unfortunate. Not sure he would have seen much of where he died from there, other than the sound cue. So a good opening couple of picks for Rebels in what is a very important round early game, of course, both still in contention to make it through. If they win this game, the lower final, and then the consolidation final, they do get through to the proper playoffs, the lower bracket of them. It's a long path, especially if you drop down this low. Play the winner of Aurora Monte, which is going on the B stream right now.
This is still a very losable round here for the Rebels. I mean, they're taking a lot of time. They're waiting for this lurk towards Hell, and if that lurk gets found out in any capacity, then the round is back on the table here for the Wolves.
Where they are going to shift in toward him, and that gives Innocent a quick death, but Flay actually catches him through the hut wall in the end, and Kisarek, who was already on the rafters. Bailani not ready for that on the rotation. It leaves Chaquinho looking for a kill or two, but the off angle is comfortable for Tomiko, also known as Turbo Yubaka. Banger.
Yeah, an interesting alias. But there definitely was an angle for the Wolves to win that round. They did actually make the right assumption in terms of the target for the Rebels being the top side, but I think they missed the timing where they thought about ramp for a moment. They, I think, go down from the Heaven ladder just as the flank was coming towards Heaven, and so when they realize it is A fully, they get caught on the rotate, and they're just unsuspecting of these lurking players, these forward pushes. Mateos, a very aggressive line, and gets caught by Innocent, just a quick ascent towards that marshmallow. It's a nice fast route to take to prevent plays like that. That's now the second time where Mateos has ended up empty-handed given his good start.
Straight away, Kisarek gets himself in toward Garage, and I don't think Bailani actually saw any of him.
He opened himself up to that timing as well. He didn't keep eyes on that gap in the smoke.
Flashing towards the front of Mini, actually, and that now gives the information over to Bailani. Quez has moved himself into the aggressive position in secret as well for probably a peek outside with a flash at some point, but more utility coming toward him. Needs to be wary, and if he drops off those barrels, he needs to do it in a silent manner if possible.
I mean, it's a strong spot, but the problem is that to try and address the outside pressure, they've given ramp entirely.
That leaves Flare in a good position. Sobel's actually gone all the way through as well, and there's actually no one giving up the ghost outside right now in terms of just peeking dry, but they might have to now at this point because they're losing numbers across the map. Quez eventually does get that one, but there's a response from Tapeware. Knows what's going on. There are two toward Heaven at the moment, and Quez still alive, but that is a reaction he wasn't ready for. Good swing from Kisarek. Quez is stuck in the mini molly. Might not even be allowed to escape. He will try now, though, and should have a bit more space.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame. Once again, I think the Wolves have good position, but this is also one of the difficulties with playing into a map that is as familiar as it is for the Rebels, is that on the mid-rounding, they realize they've got really good, solid position outside. The gap that's opened up by finding Mateos so early, it just creates this wealth of opportunity where they realize they don't have to commit as many... or rather, as much manpower outside, and they can instead focus on other areas of the map, especially when Big Garage is opened up, and that's why that Bailani giving up at the angle around the smoke actually had such a big ripple effect, is that it pulled the ramp rotate and forced them to try and double team that angle just to deal with Big Garage, because they couldn't leave that as a late lurking angle for the Rebels, and it just opened up so much of the map.
Yeah, it snowballed, that's for sure. Quez will manage to save the M4A4 at least, though.
That's good navigating out of bad waters there for the Rebels. Even with their opening pick, they don't overplay their position. They find the open territory and they exploit it immediately. So it's what you want to see out of them as well.
Ooh. Well, they found the M4, and Quez has, I'm pretty sure, hit a dink and then the frag on Innocent. So he'll be delighted with that. That's a good check from Flay, though. Chiquinho tries to make his way up toward the AC unit and Heaven. Not allowed to. And there's Sobel from the silo position. As we saw earlier, I mean, Matthias is not getting much luck in going for those. I know that was only a USP there, but timing's not going his way. I've never been an enjoyer of crossing outside to get into secret that early. I would much prefer to, like, gauge a sound cue with opening the door or breaking the glass on B and rotate that way early round, even though that does give up something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's had some challenges towards outside once the guns have actually come out. So it's been a good job so far, the Rebels just addressing that problem, but, you know, all the same, the Wolves are trying to play as quietly as possible, but the Rebels are kind of cowering in fear. They know an M4 is still on the table, they know that there's USPs about, and with 35 seconds, they're starting to make their way down to the lower site, which the Copenhagen Wolves have stacked. They've got all three members in position to try and stop a bomb plant. But
Yes.
there will be no flight. This will be full fights.
Yeah, it's going to be awkward, and nice little jump spotting there from Tapeware too. Decides just to shift up into the angle though, but maybe he's the bait, because look who's here. Bailani with the USP, look at the damage that's been done to Kisarek as well. When does the M4 pounce? Surely the USP swings first, and the M4 follows. But no, the kills aren't coming through. Look how low they all are now. USP might be enough for 3 of them, honestly. All 3 of them, but even though he's got a kit, he's just going to try and make them feel uncomfortable right now. Try and force them out, feel like they can't hold the angles they're currently holding and go for a face. And fair play to Quez for giving this one a go, but the crossfire is just too impossible when you've got a player directly above you. Fair enough, but no cigar.
I can't believe he pushed that. After he got the jump spot, I understand, you know, he's effectively created a scenario where there is a clear path for the Rebels to go through B via decon. It gave a kill over to the Wolves, but positionally they could not play to stop that bomb. And when they're down numbers, when they don't have resources, that has to be the priority. You know, you can't you can't expect to frag out in the 2 versus 3 or the 1 versus 3 after the fact. It's an unrealistic way to win the round, and they gave away a kill unnecessarily. Maybe a bit of an overstep for the Wolves, but back into full rifles. They do have an open Jaquinho's hands as well, and Mateo's still outside, but not committing to garage fights as frequently now, playing from Unbreakable, while the Rebels just simply hold inside of lobby for an outside push. It's in fact Kisarek that's again found this opening.
Wow.
Ever since that 8-0 start, Mateos has yet to find a frag in gun rounds.
Yeah, and outside is his nemesis at the moment. He's just not been able to find an answer. All the Rebels between 4 and 3 kills as well. Their team performance is starting to warm up. Tapeware will move round to the back of Silo, but then he'll have to move back into minis. They have to move for something at some point to get some information. I'll just sit back and let Rebels go together as a group into one player. Just would never happen in a month for Sundays. Now they're worried about Heaven too, so it's awkward. Innocent still providing presence toward ramp as well as they burst out Squeaky, and that could be a great play. They're not checking mini properly. Oh, that should have been a 1-for-1 at least for Bailani. It's still a possibility with Taper and Jaquinho doing okay work, but that's a 2v3. That's the A-bomb site dropped.
Yeah, and a call to save will be very much the right decision. And this is a free kill given over to Quez. Flay currently not guarding his door, and Quez will take that opportunity. Innocent close by Tetris, and Quez just pre-firing, but not actually pursuing much further with that M4. Just trying to keep pressure out from behind. Tomiko's going to come back to address this, and with that, Jaquinho will now pull the plug. A 4th round found here for the Rebels in a row, and largely due to this outside presence. And, you know, Copenhagen Wolves came into this bye with very few resources. You know, when we think about the difficulties about taking outside control nowadays as a T, it's the fact you can get spam from a number of angles through those smokes. That was always a problem on Nuke, but now they can be blown open by HEs. There's great util sets that you can throw, good counter flashes as well to be aggressive, maybe even top credit. You can boost, you can play around the edge of garage. You can even just hold mini from the back of garage. There's a number of ways you can play with limited resources, and they effectively play like default setups with no nades on the side of Copenhagen Wolves, instead of trying to do something that better facilitates good position and just focusing on gunplay. With fewer resources enabled, they sat static even without the nades in their pocket. So a little bit of a curious decision. You know, they're just hoping that they can win those gunfights, and as of right now, the Rebels are getting the better of that edge.
Yeah, I mean, Quez had a chance as well. I mean, like, the timing on Flay is excellent. You can understand why he didn't want to leave it too long, because there's a good chance he just unscopes and kills him from that angle. But, you know, if he wanted to be extra cheeky and take a big gamble in a 2v3, he could have just maybe crouched under the scope a little bit longer and maybe even found the close hut player if he just ignores him for a split second. It was been very, very tight, and probably a very crazy call to make to ignore Flay in that scenario, because you're hoping there's another player in the open on site, right, just to kill straight away. Is what he went for, but they're going to flash away into mini in the following round. Good trade from Flay, but the Jaquinho AWP is still around, of course. You've got to be wary of that. Actually, toward A at the moment, and Sobel is stuck in hut. Thankfully, he's got an AWP to face, and he's hit the first bullet headshot. So that is relaxed things. Matthias in the vent.
He's getting flanked.
Sobel dealing with Quez should mean that it's a little bit more comfortable. Tapewear is still here. Be careful. Bomb down the floor again. It's a 5-7 after all. Don't get too close to it. Play the ranges, and there we go.
How was Sobel managed? You know, ahead of this game, we had to pick our player to watch in this matchup, and I picked Flay, but our producer whispered in my, like, Sobel played a pretty good game the last time he was on. And I thought, yeah, he did. You know, you're right, but I'm going to focus on Flay. I'm fine with focusing on Flay.
It is our Polish studio friends, isn't it? So
yeah,
they should know.
It's also nonsense that Sobel gets away with those 2 kills. I can't believe he got away with the first one onto the AWP, and then he turned on 15 HP and killed the flanking pistol. It shouldn't happen, but he's talented and very aware.
Yeah. He's been around a very long time as well. All the Polish teams you can think of. And he'll open up this one as well. Speak of the devil. Bailani will drop. Take down his fellow Pole. But right now, Rebels are certainly in pole position.
Well, effectively a non-starter round here for the Wolves. This is one of the worst positions you can be. Losing control via manpower and then just not being able to really fight for anything back. You know, it's not as though Rebels have made presence outside and shown resources. Yeah, and Tapeware trying to get cheeky with the smokes outside just to get some information and gets caught with a nade out, shot in the back. The Rebels will have a free round from this. Mateos does find a kill right back. He's just so low HP. If he'd found that kill through the smoke, there could have been an argument. But 3-on-4, that health on Mateos. Another save call. The Rebels are calling a solid T side.
Yeah, this is what I expected, honestly. Playing out right now. Good bounce back.
It's one of the worst things that can happen. Is that in the default where there's no smokes outside, you don't hear steps, you have no way of accounting for how many members on the T side are taking out. There's no realistic way that you make a counter reaction. Quite often teams will either play 2 towards the lower side. But Mateos' save is in jeopardy, and he does get hunted down. But you can't re-aggress towards lobby. You can't, really cede any ground and take some back in the interim, because you have no statement of intention from your opposition. There's no way to forecast what comes next without taking effectively a massive gamble or a massive risk, and the Copenhagen Wolves were kind of in no position to team up and do so.
Yeah, and that description is what's happened. I think 3 or 4 of the rounds already. Copenhagen Wolves have lost a man early and have had to play catch up and have been exposed due to that each one of those rounds. So it's been awkward for them, I'm afraid. These nades are nice. Oh my goodness.
Very nice.
To the back silo position on A, Tapeware will almost get completely obliterated from round 10.
And this seems to be the address. No more Rifler outside. It's Chiquinho holding from AC to just keep tabs in some capacity while they tried to play triple site, and the Rebels have read that. There's only so many positions you could play on triple site. A triple nade to the back of bomb site is very well placed.
Yeah, it's a fan mass as well. At least it's the probably lesser of all the weapons that has been naded down. But it's a critical position. I also play A-site anchor on Nuke, and mostly it is like playing B anchor on most other maps. Rotations are tough to deal with. Chiquinho tries to get himself a kill on the cross, but one player's got down. They're spotted by Lani in the vent. Oh, it never rains when it pours. This feels so awkward for them. Innocence found Tapeware in the meantime as well. They'll eventually get traded, but Bailani, all he can do is be a nuisance right now, and eventually he was going to fall prey to Kisarek, who was in secret to begin with. And he just flies up, comes and helps out his team. And again, they've been thoroughly outpositioned and outplayed here.
Yeah, I mean, who was distracting who in those vents, really? It was actually hilarious to find out he was getting flanked. Yeah, they really are getting outplayed. And some of it's just minor details. For this round, they tried to make that address. They tried to deal with outside, but in ceding that much ground, what it does create is that if Chiquinho's not holding wide from spawn or fighting from garage in any meaningful way, they can get to those main fights. But Copenhagen Wolves didn't seem that ready to really deal with that, which is kind of surprising when they start AAA. And, one of them was weak, sure, but it's just not a good look when you're playing further and further back. You're trying to turtle up, be more defensive, and when you're getting to that stage of the round, we're still making these minor missteps. It wouldn't surprise me, given the way that they've been playing outside on CT so far, with one garage, one main, if the main guy threw the first nade. It actually would make more sense to do so if you wanted your ult to try and find info outside. But because they cycled the wrong way around, by the time he pulls the nade out, they're in main and fighting him as he's drawn the nade. So, these are all minor details that, it doesn't feel like they're accounting for what the Rebels have seen so far in their adaptations. And that's maybe partly to do with the roster ins and outs. Getting everybody up to speed all the time and making these on-the-fly adjustments can be that much more complicated.
Oh dear. Unlucky Tomoko. It's classic Counter-Strike. If this is the round that Copenhagen Wolves find a way to win, they've already found 2. The M4 on Bailani, the 5.7 through a smoke by Quez. We've got a Mag 7 in play as well. Top Hat. absolute classic. Prefer an XM personally these days, but could do damage. And Flay, if he's to be the one to push through Hut, I mean, that is a terrible position for that Orp to have to look up and take the kill. Innocent's found Jaquinho. Tapewear knows what's going on. It's now awkward. He has to switch between two separate angles. There's stuck behind the smoke, but in comes the Mag 7. Okay, takes a low HP player. That's fine. And Innocent, oh my goodness,
what?
he's Goomba stomped by Lanny in the vents. Oh my god.
That's the way back into the round. He's even planting on that lower side, even though Flay is trapped upper with the AWP. And they'll know that he was nearby. They'll go for the double clear, but it's kept their attention for long enough that Innocent could have played from a number of different spots. He's left that door open. He sits within decon, and the Wolves will try and play together. Innocent should read this. First kill's free. It's Quez that's up next, and the door will shut in front of his face. No kit available here for Quez. And Innocent playing from the off angle, trying to play for the headshot, and he'll hit it. It's an ace from Innocent to complete the clutch. Rebels cannot lose on this T side.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Old man Innocent, been around the scene for yonks. And his experience pays off once again. That was so well played. Isolating both duels to perfection, jumping back behind the squeaky door. Even though Flay was in such a weird position and it was such a goofy round, Innocent takes all 5. One of them being a falling down the vent headshot.
Yeah, I can't believe that. He had wings.
Oh dear.
He's guilty, Your Honor.
I do like Innocent. He's one of those players that has now been a bit of a journeyman, but also played in something like kind of like some of the top level tournaments back in the day. I've always been a bit of a soft spot for him. Played on the old Polish G2 way back when. That's 10 years ago now. Incredible. Still doing good work for his team Rebels, who he's been on now for about a year and a bit. Probably one of the first aces he might have had in quite a long time. I might have to look up that one.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well. When was the last time we saw an Innocent ace? But, yeah, I'm not loading that page.
Oh, dear.
Oh, this is a good start for Jaquinho. Nice forward spot in the lower side of B, but he is being flanked, and they don't have any idea that there can be anyone down these vents, and so he gets executed. So, you know, positionally, he might have had a good place, but once again, the Rebels have another out, a better position to play from. 5-on-3.
I just outpositioned them and outplayed them the whole half, really. Like, genuinely, if Rebels didn't choose to go for that second round force buy, I reckon they would have won their first gun round anyway, by what we've seen so far. Yeah. And could have even been a 10-2, if we're honest. Let's see. Flay's in position. He's on the first. He's got a teammate to support from double door. He leaves Quez in an impossible scenario. And so far, it's been an impossible half for Copenhagen Wolves. It's all coming up Rebels. We'll see if they can close out Nuke after the break.
You feel like something new. You feel like something. You feel like something new. You feel like something. Don't just stop it. Doing what you do. When I lay back, holding on to you. Ooh, ooh. Feel like something new. Here on overload, all my body is for you to hold. Ooh, ooh. You feel like something new. You feel like something. I feel like I'm in another galaxy. Take my time in your eternity. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Feel like something new. Yeah. And I never thought that you got me wanted. Never thought that never thought that never thought that I'd be saying you feel more like a dream. Yeah. Feel like something. You feel like something. You feel like something.
A fairly tragic first half for Copenhagen Wolves. Outpositioned, outgunned, outmatched. The Rebels had a very solid T side. Ever since they got their hands on weapons, they have not looked back, not even once. Innocent wouldn't allow them to, with an ace clutch in that first half. So the Wolves will have to do well here on this T side to try and live up to what the Rebels have set forward on Nuke.
Yeah, it's feeling very comfortable at the moment. Every single thing that they've put forward has been cancelled out. Sobble, though, will get caught in the open, and there goes Innocent. So, it's funny, isn't it? Let's just see what Kissaret can do here for a moment. It is a 2v4. Feet spotted by Lanny, but now a headshot taken. You feel like this pistol should be on the Wolves' side. But if they're able, let's say Rebels force buy. They say they lose this. They say they force buy. They lose the force buy. You could get a 9-6 scoreline from 2 pistols alone. And they're in the game from that alone. Because they've been thoroughly outplayed overall.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the first 5 rounds of this map, I thought great positions from Copenhagen Wolves. But, you know, just lacked that little bit of finesse. Or, you know, they got outgunned. Or, you know, something a little wild happened. They didn't account for a flank. That can happen. And then afterwards, it was just pure carnage. So, yeah, there is still a way back into this game for the Wolves, and you know, winning this pistol will certainly be the first step forward. We'll get the bomb plant on this A bomb site. While Flay had hoped they overthought things and went B, there will be no way back into this round. There should be no shenanigans, no clutches. The Wolves have won both pistols on Nuke.
I think Flay is far enough away to not take any damage to his Kevlar, though. He'd have to go all the way back into one of the spawns to remove that possibility. So there's no 350 helmet upgrade wherever he plays if he wants to stick here. He's been spotted out anyway, so he'll most likely go down. Quez trying to hunt him down. Waiting for the bomb damage possibly as well to come through before he actually goes for a fight, but in the end Flay does take it. And that's kill reward, which will obviously count toward a future AWP, so every little helps in that sense, but yeah, annoying to save on a pistol. Bit boring.
It's fine. He also got a flash, so
Fair enough.
yeah.
Yes, I mean,
Said, every little helps.
everything is, as we say, every little helps. Both these teams want to help right now, because Copenhagen Wolves only won 1 series in their last, like, I think 7, I'm pretty sure, or 6.
Yeah.
Rebels have only won 1 in their last 7 as well. It's really rough form for both teams, and I'll actually get into that when it comes to the ancient win rates for both. When we get toward the end of this particular map. It's a great HE from Flay. Wow. Gets a kill on Jaquinho and does 50 damage to Tapeware and a bit more to Quez too. So they can finally scout. Oh, Innocent wanted it, but greed will betray him.
Yeah, he's like, I found it, but Mateus was guarding it. A little bit of revenge, perhaps, for all the abuse he's received on outside. Can try and find some retribution. Had 8 kills in the first 3 rounds of Nuke, and ended the half with 1 more in gun rounds. So definitely hoping to rectify his impact. Looked at him as being a potentially explosive player, and it would mainly be on things like the T side, so he will be a focal point for us. Still, 3-on-4. The Rebels were in a situation like this in the first half as well, where I did think there was reasonable chance and reasonable expectation for the Wolves to actually turn the ship around, even at the man deficit. And it's largely started in the same direction. The Rebels have pulled 3 players towards the top side. They're grouping together. But as this time runs lower and lower, they should put the pieces together that it likely isn't going to be a topside attack unless there's some presence towards outside in any meaningful capacity. But they hear those steps now running towards ramp, so they realize that they're out of position. Mateos is here to cut them off, though, and is hounding for the ace. He could get it, but Sobol will shoot him in the back. It's 4 kills for Mateos, an AK received, and Sobol's out of there.
Yeah, how dare you try and ace. I mean, weird game that Mateos has had so far. Started 8-0, then got like 2 kills for the remaining of the half.
Yeah, it was 1 in the end. I did. He did actually end up with 1.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. And now he's got 4 eco kills, pretty much. So,
yeah. Listen,
not one to say he has an inflated KD here, but he does.
Yeah, it's pistols, the anti-force buy, and the eco.
Yeah.
That's where he's gotten all of his kills throughout this game, actually, both halves of the map.
Yeah, gun round kills, I think, what, 2 total?
1. It's 1.
Okay, it's still 1? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he got 1 on the bonus buy, but maybe I was
Yeah, I
wrong.
thought he ended the half with 10 kills, but he ended the half with 9. So.
Okay, roger. Fair enough.
Tough game.
Sorry, Mateos, we have to expose you. It's the fact.
We're just doing the math. Ew.
These are the sort of games we can get away from you, though. I expect Rebels now to deliver on what is their first proper gun round on CT side. Actually, Kisarek only going with the MP9, really for the position he will be playing, need to afford more utility. So it won't be a 9-6, like I said, without that full force. So that scout being used in the previous round. That's why Kisarek only has the SMG, I believe. The AK save from Sobol is critical. They have a kit, 2 kits actually in play too. Copenhagen Wolves just waiting for a mistake outside, waiting for a bit of information, searching, doing the same moves actually with the jiggles.
Yeah, but
Now
they threw a leaning wall, waited for it to fade, and they're hoping that would have applied some pressure to Rebels' rotates. And at the moment, they've yet to move from those spots. They're not convinced that someone could be towards those secret steps.
Yeah, they're going to smoke the hell position, actually, which is a nice one. It gives them maybe an opportunity to go deeper and toward outside, but a great break of the mini smoke from Sobol. Sets him up for 2. Tomiko got one of his own as well toward Bailani. And now Jaquinho may find Flay. Quez needs to pounce on a good timing. And actually, surprisingly, Tomiko doesn't get that kill. You'd think he would from the angle he was on and where he was pre-aiming. But it's a good catch from Quez. There's a weapon upgrade as well, of course. But now we're in a position where they've got 1 HE left. Neither are above 50 health. And time is running low.
Yeah, they've heard them running towards ramp, though. So they're going to be attacked from the vents as well as from the ramp itself. Need to blow open the double doors. That's a good way to cover, but with decon pressure as well, there's just no reasonable way they can plant this bomb. Jaquinho's just pincered in. Too many angles to hold, too much to cover, no smokes or Molotovs to block. A great round from the Rebels. They did not bite on the bluff that Copenhagen Wolves were trying to sell towards outside, and it really helps them in reinforcing the main side as well as the top side, which is where the Wolves wanted to go.
Am I wrong to question that nade on the double doors? I feel like you need some safety to try and plant with that little time left on the clock, or is that just trying to go for a peek?
Yeah, the hope was that they kill the guy double, and that was the first guy that they had to deal with on lower. But decon also opened about near the same time, and it was just they couldn't do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, in hindsight, it does seem a little silly to just open up every angle possible, but it's they tried to do something.
Yeah, have to try and find a duel, I suppose, in a 2v3, right? Win a gunfight through any means possible to recover that one. Innocent. Gap angle. So you need to play across. Instant smoke. You can get caught out on those, but Innocent's experienced enough. Should be okay. Actually only gets 1.5. So that's an AK that's going to be picked back up again, and Sobol gets caught as well. So Tomiko needs to deliver, and Matthias will find him too. Now that's an impactful kill. on a round like this for Matheos. Huge one to find, 4v2, but definitely wasn't clean from Rebels. They could have played that one a lot better.
Yeah, that's the biggest swing kill that could have defined this round. I mean, with 2 already starting towards that lower side, to have Tomiko also there, where he could have had some influence, kept control side, and actually prevented the plant for at least some period of time. That was the kill that defined this round, and Matheos did hit it. I mean, he didn't have the right to. He was not prepared for that fight, and still came away with the duel. Yeah, it was far from perfect from either side. You know, Innocent probably lingered a little while too long. Even from the deployment of the smoke, he didn't really react. You know, he just stood there and then threw the smoke while totally static. If he'd been moving while throwing the smoke, or if he, you know, ran back to those steps, again, they could have retained position for longer, but players fought and they died. So we will have to live in those mistakes. The Wolves will be pleased with it, though. I mean, they came in with limited weapons. They had Tech 9s still in play as well, and they were able to get to the secret, break B fairly carefree.
Yep. Not out of the game at all. Pistols have saved them. Rebels have maxed out that first half from purely the weapon rounds. But the Wolves are not out of the conversation. Kisarek already taking a little bit of a tag, and a 74 already, and cross smokes are in early. But again, doesn't look like they want to pounce on anything in that position too much, because they've got more lobby control and possible ramp control than they have anything else right now. But Tomiko off angle 5-7, anything can happen.
I wonder if they're going to keep playing this bluff. Outside smokes on Copenhagen Wolves. This time they do slide someone down towards secret, but once again, no moves have been made by the Rebels. Tomiko just fighting tooth and nail with his 5-7 up close. Will be forced back by the nade, but he has reinforcements from behind as well. It is Innocent on a D. Kisarek has pushed through to door as well, and he's found 2 with that AK, putting a lot of pressure on the bomb.
Uh-oh. Innocent as well. Oh, it's the timing. Flay's taking Quez in the meantime, so they keep a man advantage, but Innocent could have made the round a certainty if he got that one. So it's still on. Tapewear has the ability to pick up that bomb which was just in front of him and then move back away again, but Flay will now know there's an outside player. That's Matheos trying to move his way forward. And Flay doesn't want to give up his life. He knows this round could be critical to keep Copenhagen Wolves at bay, and there's the check. Matheos now knows, but again, time is a bit of an issue. Double checking as well, and does see him walk the smoke. But there is a bit of a slow peek into that heaven area. And with Matheos finding Flay, they know where Sobel is. It's now getting a little bit out of hand. Kisarek stuck in the vents. Tapewear's watching for it, but turns away at the worst possible time. I can't believe it. Bomb on the floor. Tapewear, also Kisarek should run away, and the round's won.
I mean, that's perfect. That's perfect clock manipulation, though, from Kisarek. He sees it's, 10, 12 seconds just as he's about to check those vents. And at that 10-second mark, do you have time to stop and hold when you actually don't have a foothold on the bomb site itself?
Yeah.
When you're not sure if he could have slid towards the back of the bomb site, you don't have that time to spare. And so, yeah, Kisarek has picked the perfect time to come up those vents. Saw that 12-second tick by and just thought, yeah, about now should be free. And he had a back fully exposed. So, really well done. Masterful round from Kisarek, from the aggression indoor to that cheeky play as well.
Yeah, it couldn't have been worse for Tapewear, but also, as you rightly point out, Kisarek knew what he was doing, grabbing that one and then running away ASAP, so there was no chance for a wallbang anywhere for the clutch with not enough time remaining to plant. Flay's removed Tapewear outside. That's a good catch with the AWP. He's been not remarkable in this game. He's been very standard for the AWP of this team, and as have most of the players, honestly. They've gone above and beyond in a few rounds, but no one's really lighting the scoreboard up. Matheos finds a big one on Sobel in this one, though, and damage is being done. Quez will manage to trade Innocent after his 1-for-1. So, again, the T-side have found a one-man advantage late round.
And Tomiko will get nothing from his flank. This will be a call to save here for Flay. Could be a difficult one as well, though. So, trying to find a fighting line in some capacity. I mean, even with the opening being found here by the Rebels, Copenhagen Wolves getting caught off a little bit by the aggressive start towards those secret steps with the AWP. Just able to collapse on that A bomb site and use some solid spacing to break into to A instead. And, you know, they've been throwing this leaning wall outside in a number of rounds. They've been trying to play around it. They've bluffed that they could go down to secret. Sometimes the Rebels have just simply sat in static positions. They've made no reaction. But in other rounds, we've seen them, you know, aggress into hut, into lobby, and I think in the absence of any aggression there from the Rebels, given how successful it was on a lower buy round, they just pushed into that top side and find them kind of not really out of position, but in isolated enough spots that the Wolves could collapse on them. So yeah, it's all about this conditioning here for the Wolves. It's always this same set of smokes outside. This time it's a different variation, more of a traditional wall just to get into secret, but an immediate blow of that smoke, and a second one at that as well that should delay any real progression. But there's only one player that's trying to make that journey. It's Tapeware on a Mac 10. He'll get there, albeit fairly wounded, 26 health by the time he gets to the top of that staircase. This is far from comfortable here for the Rebels. They know they've ceded some space towards outside with that wall. They come in with pistols and limited resources. The vent's blown open, the door's wide open. It's not like these A players can feel too safe in going for these aggressions, but they might be forced to, just based on the way this round is developing. They'll feel a very blind information-wise.
Yeah, I think they do want to kind of play on the front foot a little bit here, and might not take the risk, to be fair, even though it's a full force, you've got lesser weaponry, and Flay gets an important opening. This is a map where I've seen him do amazing work in the past. Of course, famously, they had that run at IEM Katowice a couple of years ago, where they had a chance in the play-in and actually managed to deliver and make it through to the main event. I'll get into that in a second, because the round's about to get interesting. 30 on the clock. Innocence found Jaquinho. Take players down in towards the lower side, though. Oh, he's been done any damage to Tomiko, and Tomiko pounces. That's painful to watch. And now Quez is having to try and run him down, and he's the only one left. Molly will be good, but he's 1v4 total with 3 more to find.
Trapped in the back of the site as well. Will try and escape towards Decon, but he's sitting inside of the flames, and so Sobel will hound him down with the 5-7. It was a desperate attempt there. The round blew up in their face. And such a contrast. I mean, say the Copenhagen Wolves, when they were constantly on the back foot, they played more and more defensive. They weren't finding these counter reactions. What did the Rebels do? They put the AWP onto ramp. They fire that first shot. They realize that there's no actual urgency from the Wolves to try and leap into the ramp, and they aggress with Innocent right behind it. And they knew that it would likely sling them back towards that A-bomb site. I mean, they're reading the next reaction from the Wolves there far better than the Wolves did the entire half on C2. And we've seen it now a couple of rounds where they've made some of these good counter reactions, and they've got the kills to boot. The Wolves did have moments, but they didn't find the frags to accompany it.
So Reg, this one's a little bit nervy, but now he's got the advantage. He doesn't decide to go fully into it though. Maybe he thought he was a bit lower than he was after he took a tag there. So that's 73 health. A nade to blow up on the smoke outside though, and yeah.
Completely undressed.
First time actually they've been properly caught on that cross. And it's the worst time for Copenhagen Wolves to lose a pick like that. But Jaquinho does respond on Innocent. Back into a 4v4. Ramp control is still under their control, but you'll have to get a quick rotation down to a B if they think they've already got down towards secret. And Jaquinho is still lurking around outside on a later timing than his teammates. So if you get caught on the crosshair, Flash will come over, and there's the check, and there's the intel. Goes for both peaks, and can't find either. They were both tough shots to hit.
Yeah, linking with the lower players is going to be difficult, though. 2 have made it down to B with the bomb, and, you've still got these 2 players outside, kind of stuck in no man's land with no smoke to cross. Running back to lobby would be crazy, so they're just going to try and have to play for kills in the late round here, and just hope that the Rebels don't have numbers down B to overwhelm their teammates.
Oh, we haven't seen him. Oh, it's so awkward. The fact he even has a glimmer of hope against Tapeware in that duel is pretty crazy. Could have probably been caught, but Sobel has still got him in the open. Take play doesn't fall back to a safe position. Single door got opened. So Bailani and Jaquinho 2v3. Kit available on Flay. He's the AWPer. I could make it a little bit more awkward. Door be closed in Jaquinho's face, though, and that flash does absolutely nothing. Bailani ready to swing with him, and they're just going to not peek. Oh, dearie me. Flay's just held it the whole way, and that's game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that round was going to be hard. It was going to be difficult, but they both played to lurk, and it really didn't come together. I think the Wolves were definitely discombobulated. You could tell in moments that they couldn't find the right means of address to what the Rebels were up to. They were getting outpositioned the whole first half. There were a couple of moments where they were fighting back, and they had some good spots. We saw a couple of flashes, perhaps, but they were given a class difference on Nuke, and I think that's kind of what we would expect from the Rebels, who have very much made this like a comfort pick for themselves. They love bouncing into this map consistently in best of threes, and they definitely showed up. And our player to watch coming into this game did show up, but maybe not as much as some of the other players in the server. A Kadir player to watch and play. He did his job.
Yeah, we love Mr. Allen. Flay, as you say, he wasn't really a massive factor in this one, but he got the kills that he was kind of supposed to, and then played well for his team, of course, in that final round to defuse the bomb, and that was probably the perfect call to make. As I was talking about him earlier, right? I mean, he's a great player. The reason he's our player to watch is from like past big LANs that he's played on Rebels when their roster, of course, was very different. There was a pretty famous game he had against Falcons back in the main event for Katowice in 2024, where he absolutely put on a clinic and almost eliminated them. For example, when I was looking back at that in my notes before the game to see like history of his matchups, one of the clutches on the HLTV highlights description is majestic 1v3 clutch. So if the HLTV highlight guy calls it majestic, it was good. So I'm looking to see more of that in map 2 because they seem fully in control at the moment. We'll see you after the break and have a chat about Ancient when we come back.
Yeah. La 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 la. Yeah. Your life hits hard, but I hit right back. I never back down, I keep it on track. It's the same day with no problems. I keep rising from the bottom. Cause when the sun comes up and I look around, I can feel that love, I can hear that sound. They're never gonna hold me down, I'm higher than the ceiling now. And then I need to worry about, cause I got no problems. I know it's gonna be alright, it's getting better every time. Nobody's gonna kill my vibe, cause I got no problems. Yes, every day was a war. Yeah, it kinda took a while. When they tell me I should stay, I just jump with a smile. Yeah, it's hard until you notice. Everybody's got their moment. When the sun comes up and I look around, I can feel that love, I can hear the sound. Listen up. They're never gonna hold me down, I'm higher than the ceiling now. And then I need to worry about, cause I got no problems. I know it's gonna be alright, it's getting better every time. Nobody's gonna kill my vibe, cause I got no problems. Cause I got no problems. Cause I got no problems. Do you feel a little down? Say it, no problems. Let you in but you out, sing it, no problems. They're never gonna hold me down, I'm higher than the ceiling now. Have none I need to worry about, cause I got no problems. They're never gonna hold me down, I'm higher than the ceiling now. And none I need to worry about, cause I got no problems. I know it's gonna be alright, it's getting better every time. Nobody's gonna kill my vibe, cause I got no problems.
If you wanna be my love, boy, gotta take it slow. If you wanna be my love, I'll show you what you wanna know.
Think you've seen it all? With Faceit Watch's Point of View Selector, you can experience the game from any pro's perspective. Use the multi-view feature and customize the stream with up to 4 angles. Control what points you see while earning rewards. Drops are activated and lucky winners will receive Faceit points. And if you ever miss a match, VODs are now available. Get instant access to demos with multiple POVs and commentary. Watch it, control it, face it.
We're back to see if the supposed favourites of Rebels in this series can keep up what they have begun with that win on Nuke. We're going to Ancient next, and this one's an interesting one because Copenhagen Wolves are on a very weird streak on this one. They've actually won their last one, it's Monty, in ESL Challenger League. But before that, they lost 6 in a row, and before that, they'd won 7 in a row. So it's very, very streaky for them, but I do think that excellent win streak definitely coincided with some great form from Andu, who they no longer have.
Yeah, that will definitely be a complication for them. They are also picking into a weakness for the Rebels, where you're talking about streaks of losses, perhaps for the Wolves, and streaks of wins. But the recent performance for the Rebels has been a streak of losses. It's 5 in a row straight, and most of the maps aren't even close. They have 1 overtime loss against Kono in there in the Bucharest qualifiers, and then outside of that, it's been losses in CCT and ESL Challenger League, and they have not put up a capable fight. So, yeah, against good teams, that is true. But I'm still hoping for a bit of a head above water metric of win a couple of standard rounds. You don't want to get completely muscled out of a game, especially when it's on a map that you are already having some difficulties on. So, I mean, given the way they played against the Wolves on their map pick, I'll be very surprised if they feel like they are the worst team in this matchup, even with the track record. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we get out of players like Flay and Sobol and the like, and Kisarek, because I'm actually mainly going to be focused on Kisarek and Innocent, because they're the big space takers for this team on T side. And that, I think, will help set a precedent, especially when Mateos is likely going to be on the other side. He was getting kind of abused when he was playing Outer on Nuke, and I kind of hope he's not going to have those same struggles, but I am expecting that they are going to target him.
Yeah, I'm going to be really interested to see if that is a factor once again. I mean, there's some of those wins that you also losses, for Rebels that I mentioned. I mean, they're against really good teams, like I said, like Spirit Academy, Paravision, Navi Junior. They've actually played 3 of probably the best teams right now in Tier 2, especially on Ancient, and Navi Junior especially. I mean, they had a massive streak and really, really good form across the entirety of Tier 2. And their style on Ancient as well, Navi Junior, is very unique, which is why I found that a very expected loss. It's a very uniquely aggressive style where it's mostly playing off their incredible talent. So, yeah, I want to see what they can do against a team that's more their level, I would say. The one that was their level, like you say, more like Kono sort of level. That was a long overtime, 16-14 in those Bucharest qualifiers. But yeah, Copenhagen Wolves, they definitely do have a core on the map that understands it very well. I think Tapeware, in particular, is a guy that seems to get himself into good positions in this map from the 1 or 2 games I've seen of them in the past. One of the ones I did see, I believe, was one of their games. I think it might have been against Bad News Eagles or something quite a while ago now. Yeah, 6 weeks ago in Yellow Compass. And they did lose 2-0, but Tapeware got himself some interesting rounds in that game. So I want to see them step up individually and try and match what we've seen from Rebels thus far.
Yeah, I think the important thing is always as well, when we're looking at, especially with all the conversation about VRS and MRQs, when we look at teams outside of that purview, it's not as though these games are unimportant. We always want the these types of teams to be chugging along just as well, because if they may miss out on this window, who's to say that this doesn't have a bearing on how much it influences the next major and the next cycle? You know, if you find that you've missed that window and just think, well, better luck next time, we'll go into hibernation, we'll, sort of coast, I guess, as the rest of the season develops, then you're probably going to miss the next window. So, these games are still very important for these squads that are trying to make it into that next rung and, maybe get, albeit the very fleeting chance to participate in the major cycle. But it's a long, consistent road, and that's what the VRS system is effectively designed to try and encourage.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the current situation we find ourselves in here, between these two games that are running on the ESL broadcast today, B-Stream is covering Aurora Multi. That's actually in overtime still in map 1. Double OT as well. Aurora are 16-15 up as we see it at this moment in time. So yeah, winner of this on this stream plays the winner of that in the lower final. Then you would go through to the consolidation final, where you'd expect it to be Rush B, because they play Spirit Academy in the upper final. That's not an easy game to get through to the playoffs, of course. Winner of the consolidation final makes it through to playoffs. Winner of the upper final in the low seed group makes it through to the lower bracket, of course, of the main playoff as well. So everyone who's in the high seed group have made it through. Betera actually went on a bit of a dream run. I mean, it's a very weird sort of compilation of players on that sort of Betera team, but somehow they've managed to top their group and beat Namiga and beat Zero Tenacity to make playoffs incredibly, alongside Sinners, Bait, and Paravision. So this map is underway, map 2 of Ancient, between these two to stay alive in this season. And already the kills are going back and forth and thick and fast. We're down into a 2v1 now, with Matthias getting 3 kills in this one. He loves a pistol round, and now he's found out where Flay is. He takes his quad kill, and that's an opening.
Yeah, Matthias loves start to halves, is what I'm discovering more and more about him. I can't say I've had the opportunity to watch him personally since he's been on the Copenhagen Wolves, but yeah, he gets off to hot starts when the game goes live. From pistol to the following. It's a nice 4K, and good understanding of how that setup was going to develop. I think once they recognized that the Rebels had a lot of players on that B-bomb site, just kept the wits about them, always expecting the next fight, even with Flay trying to walk around smokes. So, a very explosive pistol there from the Copenhagen Wolves. They pounce immediately, and it's another pistol round that they've won. They are 3 for 3 in pistols, in fact.
Indeed they are, but they need to make some gun round success happen for them. Otherwise they won't have much leg room in this particular matchup. Quick tech pause, unfortunately. Hopefully we'll get the game back into the game in a second or two. But yeah, as I said, from the upper bracket in the stage 2 of ESL Challenger League, it's probably pretty expected. Like, Sinners did 2-0 Navi Junior, which I thought was a great result for them. They're through to the, I think that's the upper semi-finals, I believe. They skip around. Yeah, they do. They skip around in the final playoff bracket, along with Betera. Bait and Paravision also through. 2 excellent teams at this level that should be in that position. I think Paravision are definitely my pick overall for the possible Pro League. Paravision or Bait for me for the Pro League spot. Of course, only 1 in ECL this season. And yeah, it's a long journey for Paravision as well, because of course at the beginning of that tenure of the team, they're having to play with stand-ins, of course, to still fulfill the VRS spot and their spot in ECL in general, right? They were unranked when the league started this year. So yeah, it's been a tough run for them, but they've been looking very good, and for many, many good reasons. So one of these two teams are looking to try and join them in those playoffs in that lower bracket instead.
All I'm saying is that the murmurings around Spirit Academy, don't rule them out as well, even if they are under another organization. Who's to say that lasts up until they make it to Pro League?
Yeah, it's actually an interesting consideration, isn't it? Because I've jokingly said, listen, if I had... It's full eco, I'll talk over it. I've jokingly said that if I had $1 billion, I would buy Navi Junior and give them a spot in the MRQ.
Yeah, I mean, if you had 2 teams under an organization that both had relatively high VRS, why wouldn't you think, oh, well, we should monetize this somehow? Because there's a lot of organizations that actually are struggling to get up high in the VRS. So you hold a lot of leverage.
And they would push rivals out at that level, wouldn't they? Of course, if Navi Junior are allowed to keep their spot under a different banner. Just random example of an organisation that could pick them up and maybe give them a spot. But yeah, I think Spirit Academy could be under that conversation. I mean, it's hard to trust too much about what he says, but that skill's innocent. That's pretty good for a full eco. It's hard to trust him too much, but Overdrive has said that it's likely that Spirit Academy will probably be, I guess, free agents at some point this year, as the contracts will expire. They'll maybe look to sell or move on to the main roster. Who knows?
Yeah, exploring their options, I'm sure.
That's a good way of putting it, for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if Spirit Academy are the team to win that spot, then who knows what decision will be made, whether they can actually play it or not. I'm sure that buyout is meaty. That's for sure. Especially on Navi Junior.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, both of them, I think, are sitting on some assets. Let's put it that way. Well, a nice 2-0 start here for the Copenhagen Wolves. They did dodge the full eco, but now a full gun round. And this is where the complications arose on Nuke. It's a fast mid-control take, looking to be lined up here by the Wolves. Some good util out that will prevent them from scaling close towards elbow or even thinking about taking lane control via ledge. And so they have control of middle now. Rebels have had to take that step back and give them that respect, just given the amount of resources expended by those Ts. I mean, no active move, no good positions really to go for a counter reaction here on CT either. The Wolves have gotten a lot of territory.
Sobble is aware, though, and there's no reason to play Spawn in this sort of round. You didn't think they're all the way up mid and could possibly walk their way through. It's a very wide and I guess you could say deep off angle, so it might be difficult for him to get more than one. Genius are waiting for a bit of aggression in lane, thinking for sure that Rebels will go searching for information at some point, but they've stayed stock solid for now, mainly probably due to the fact that they're running low on util. 2 smokes and a flash left in this opening gun round. That's what the issue really is when you choose to buy on round 3. But Copenhagen Wolves are running out as well. They actually don't have a smoke left.
Yeah, they get blocked inside of Donut as well. They're going to try and nade it open so that they can link up and perform this split on A. But as that smoke rebuilds, they try and run through it. They go 1 for 1, and Kisarek will get 2. Sobel from behind, doubling up alongside him, and they've gone ban for ban. So easy for this A-side hold and defense to come together, even in the discomfort of losing all that mid-control, all that space. It seems that the Rebels are comfortable in discomfort.
Yeah, honestly, Sobel and Kisarek there do kind of God's work, because it was very awkward, especially for Kisarek, having to look between main and Donuts and not knowing the timing when the smoke's going to reappear or get blown open again or whatever.
Yeah, it's like Sobel wasn't telling him that he was fully watching main or that he was jiggling it.
Or which one. Yeah, either angle. Yeah. It's like he wasn't sure which one was being covered at what time by his teammates. But it's fine. Get away with it. Innocent should get this kill. Tapeware very low after opening grenade damage and not expecting Innocent just to go super aggressive front jag. Ooh. But they do punish him a little bit in return.
It's a nade on Bailani as well. If he was quick enough to pin that, he might have been able to chase down Innocent some way, but
he's
so loud about his rotate. Bailani has taken all this room inside of Cave, and the Rebels should know that that's a possibility. It might be the real main attack vector back into this round here for the Copenhagen Wolves, just knowing that they have this plant on the B bomb site, and a potential timing on B being taken. Bailani's found his kill, so they should scamper that bomb back over to B.
Oh, good catch from Kisarek, though. He's now got a possibility of a 3-man lane flank, and that could just cut off a couple of players. Jaquinho spotted out Mr. Deagle, so they're going to try and pressure him, and Sobel just says, well, I want none of that, sir. Destroys him immediately, but Bailani, okay. He's found both Sobel and Kisarek, and now looking to try and isolate the duel. There goes Innocent, and Flay knows exactly where he's coming from. Bit of wallbang damage. The dance of death now. Bailani looking for an ace, and he's going to pull it off. Wow. Is that our 3rd ace of today?
Second. It'll be the second, yeah. I mean, Innocent had his ace clutch, and Bailani does one himself. Different map, different day, different Bailani. That's,
damn.
I mean, that's really well done. I mean, you looked at the space he took and thought, wow, there's no much. He can't get much more room than this. And then they rotated a second player away from that B bomb site and allowed him to effectively have an isolated duel. And I think they were loud about it as well. That's why he took the timing on short, found a weapon, and it very quickly got out of control. So timeout taken here by the Copenhagen Wolves. There was an interesting video posted by Ash, coach of Gamer Legion, about, you know, what are tactical timeouts used for, how should they be used, and he shares his philosophy. I'm sure there are many that share his views, but I did ask him about the potential of letting your opponent stew in rounds where they've made a mistake. It does seem like the type of round that the Copenhagen Wolves have gone for, or the type of tactical timeout they've opted for. Which is, it also could just be a way of resetting your own adrenaline. You know, understanding that round was massive. Mateos maybe still let his adrenaline run high, ran straight through mid, right into 3 players, and loses his life instantly. So,
Am I right in saying that Ash did say that he doesn't want to use a timeout and let them reset? Was that his thinking?
He doesn't value that type of timeout, which I understand. Because they're giving your opponent time to reset instead of stew.
Yeah, there's arguments both ways, I'm sure. Yeah, I do remember watching some of that video. So Tomiko will find Balani with the Mach 10, so it actually gives him a 4 versus 3, but he's now incredibly low. Upgrades to the AK, trying to play above the donut smoke, but there is a look smoke put into practice there by the CT side. It's going to be hard to get back in. The thing is that Copenhagen Wolves have not committed to a plant yet at any point, because they're out of utility. Funnily enough, which is surprising maybe. Maybe not surprising considering Balani was the only one to survive in the previous round, so the buy would have been a bit scraped together, weaponry-wise, to get rifles. But, yeah, it's now a bit of a standoff, with Copenhagen Wolves not knowing how close Rebels are, having already seen the presence across the map, and not knowing where they feel comfortable pushing in together. If they choose this position in Temple, massive shadow advantage that Flay will get, and Kissarek's in a good position.
The 3-man pushing out from Temple straight into Flay, but Kisarek was right behind him. Kept tabs on middle, but also able to bound back, and they try and cut them off from going towards B. It's Sobel that's on a foot race. He's quickly ascended towards the ledge. It's Tomiko that's just trying to keep players busy, but that plant will happen. Jaquinho is isolated. They don't know that he's this close by. Quez is still playing for his own fight, and so Sobel now knows exactly where Quez is positioned. He can tap. He could be threatening the stick as well. Quez cannot see this plant, and he's hoping that this spam would hit. Quez just making all this noise, spamming away, but quickly coming to the realization Sobel might not be on it, but he doesn't read that long play. Sobel repositions perfectly, and it will be a round that goes the way of the Rebels.
Oh, he shifted the entire way, man. That's crazy. Honestly, props to Copenhagen Wolves with the decision they made in that situation to just push that aggressively through a unusual timing and time of the round. Like, you never go 3 through Temple at that point, but they needed information and they wanted to play the trade game rather than push an angle that could leave them exposed to a trade from a completely different position, right? They stuck together where they couldn't get flanked from behind, really. Kisarek did okay, but then got cleared immediately, and then Sobel, well, he just plays it to perfection. I mean, the peak on the first kill is always unexpected, of course, and the second one, Quez, really hard to tell whether he was still on it or not, and didn't see him. It was like a pixel away from him spotting Sobel walking off to long. He did jump spot it for a split second, but Sobel just got away on the shift, wasn't heard, wasn't seen, and that's what won him the round.
Sometimes when you're stuck in positions with no util, where you're kind of in no man's land, it can be easy to just freeze and find nothing from it. But some bravery, some commitment, it can bail you out from time to time. It almost did for the Wolves, but not to be. Still, this buy is weakened on both sides. This is a swing round if I ever saw one. And that could be worth its weight in 2, given a team that can close with all the casualties. Kisarek, first kill, and trying to jump through that smoke would be a death sentence. 2 eyes trained on it here for the Rebels.
Good catch from Bailani, and actually, trade attempt from Tomiko, while will be successful, Jaquinho takes him straight away, Again, utility's definitely been at a premium for both teams so far this game, right? I mean, now Rebels have got nothing really to work with here other than a couple of flashes.
It's really trying to sound bait for a kill.
Yeah. He wants them to push forward. He knows it's a possibility. Right now, Matthias and Jaquinho are making the right call, though.
I can't believe Sobel has done what he's done. He pushed through a main, cleared it entirely, and he flanked mid. This is not a good position for him. If he'd retained main, it could have given them another attack vector back into the bomb site, but they allow an open plant.
Yeah, Copenhagen Wolves found their way through that position in the end, and now it's very awkward, and yeah, Sobel's caught with utility out. Matthias found Kisarek in the end, and Flay has not been seen. He hasn't got a kit, and there are 3 players around this position for trade potential. They're fumbling for weaponry right now and actually should get found, but more damage taken than he would have wanted, so he's going to try and hold with the AK instead and eventually get away, and he will be allowed to. They're going to hunt him now, they may as well. This was a round where they could be able to find him anywhere, and they don't want to let him go, and there will be a good peek to stop him from escaping. So, weird back and forth as we're at 4-2 now. That round was a bit of a surprising set of rotations from both that surprised each other.
Yeah, I think for the Rebels, they understood they wanted to clear mid in some capacity, given all the pressure from mid to Donut in the early stages of the round. Hell, even the ledge players getting caught out and, you know, going 1-for-1 on those trades. They understood they wanted to retake mid control, but they didn't want to do it the conventional way because they were understanding that the Wolves had frozen in place. And so that's maybe why they opted for Sobel to clear through main to flank it. But it just takes so long for him to do that the Wolves just take the site, and it is free.
Yeah, we're in a weird state right now where we're in a 4-spy war, but it's like 4-2 and not even scoreline because the economy is in that current situation. But it could be about to end.
Yeah, looking good in the argument for an end to those 4-spy wars. Mateos gets his kills through red, and these pistols, the armor, it will all be lost to the ether. Stomico that tries to get his one inside of cave, but he's completely boxed in. Even with that smoke that's behind him, there's another player inside of middle. There is no escape from a fight. A flash that blooms in his face, he still gets his kill, but it's the SMG. Nothing of any real value lost here for the Copenhagen Wolves. They will continue to find success here on this T side, even if it is a little more stressful than other successful T sides we've seen. They are still pulling these rounds together.
Yeah, and you know, as I said, they might not have had a very good streak on the map lately, but it's one they've played a hell of a lot of.
Yeah, 30 in 3 months.
Exactly. That should be very easy to average out. Any mathers out there?
That's like at least 10 a month.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of their success, I felt like whenever I watched them, I will admit, only twice really I've covered them in officials in other tournaments so far, but when they had Andu, I was only alone, of course. They did look very good, or he did look very good, I should say, Andu on this team. I really wonder where he's going to go now, because I do feel like he's got utmost talent, and Estonia wants another one, that's for sure. Alongside Rox to be at the top of the game.
I mean, right now, that is the question about the Copenhagen Wolves, is that they've got these 4 players signed, and who?
Yeah. Guess what, by the way?
Sorry. Yeah, what?
Oh, I thought it was funny, but Matthias got an ace. So that is our 3rd ace now, and it was against the Pistols. So he does love an eco frag, bless him.
Yeah, well, this is all confirmation bias, but we are building our narrative.
Yeah. Okay, another opening though. This is the gun round, and Tapepo has already found Kisarek. Sobel looking to move his way up and probably wants to peek this one as they're already a pick down. Flash will come through to give it a look, and of course got to be worried about that mid push. Oh, that's good though.
Yeah, a great double swing. Sobel able to get that double on collection. Innocent reloading, and out in the open, they did not respect that smoke. Jaquinho able to get that critical kill, and Tomiko tries to compensate. Leaves Slay in a really bad position, but he'll find his frag from underneath the ascent to ledge. And from those boxes, he does make that journey. He thinks about just going through the smoke, but opted not for it. Copenhagen Wolves have decided to group up, and so they can play the 2-on-1 from here. It's just no kit, no smoke, nothing to force the Wolves to panic. So, in the absence of that, Flay will go hunting, but he will find nothing, and this will turn and transition into a quick save. He knows he doesn't have time to win anymore. Once again, a little awkward, a lot of kills that go back and forth, but the Wolves continue to break through here on this T side.
Yeah, and I know it may sound silly and go without saying, considering they do have a 50% record in those 30 games they've played on this map overall, but actually very even on both sides too. Like, they have a 51% win record on their CT side, that's 51.2 to be exact, and 52.7 on T side. So that kind of does lend it with the game being slightly T-sided full stop, right? Just ever so slightly better on T side. They're very, very well versed on it, and that's what Rebels are struggling with right now. You know, they're not good on Ancient overall. So it was a bit of a mismatch, this one. It was the punish pick. It might give them a chance at a third.
It's a good decision here by the Rebels, though. Lack of presence in mid, they go for a main pressure. Something that Quest is accounting for, given that there was a total absence. You know, spams through smoke are not enough to distract the Wolves from potential timings. So with Sobel down, they will still be cognizant of the prospect of a flank, but no real difficulties now that Matthias has opened up the middle of the map. Oh, that's awkward. That's the bomb dropped, but they find kills elsewhere, so it's all fine.
That probably one of the worst feelings is when you're mid-movement, backwards, you try and make the jump up, and you know you're slightly inaccurate mid-air, or landing inaccuracy, and then you get peaked. It's like, oh god, where do I aim? How do I control the spray? It's, you know, you're kind of dead. So
the worst part is, you know, the person on the other side is seeing you jump and knows that you basically cannot fight back. So
yeah,
at this level, at any level above it as well, you just know your opponent is going to punish you.
Especially moving backwards. Like, when you're actually moving forwards, it feels like you're maybe a little bit more focused, but you have that extra thought in your brain when you move backwards of, am I in the right position? I don't know where I'm looking, that sort of feeling. Yeah. And I really like this from Copenhagen Wolves here, right? Like, they've kind of pretty slow, calculated half so far. Nothing hugely pacey, and they pull out the B rush. You know, when they're 8-2 up and they've got some rounds to spare, right? That's the perfect time.
It's like it's a knockout blow. You know, you've pulled a punch. Your opponent has gotten used to your traditional cycles of, you know, they have done some more aggressive plays, mainly in mid control, and that's really where they've been causing a lot of issues here for the Rebels. Which, you know, if you're thinking from their point of view, they're probably trying to find means of addressing that problem. You know, they tried that with the A main flank. They probably tried that with this triple A start, and instead, it's just blown up in their face because of this pacey changeup. So, yeah, I mean, calling from when you're ahead, these are the types of plays that will win. These are sort of win more rounds. These will win you more rounds. These will win you more games because it can just be a total gut punch.
There's a lot more value in going for a round like that. As I say, in a game like this with a scoreline like this, for sure. And sure, pace changes are important when you're maybe 9-2 behind, for example, but yeah, in this scenario, Copenhagen Wolves are reading them like a book and showing why they picked the map. It's their favourite. It's Rebels' probably borderline least favourite. So, good chance we have our Mirage Decider, which is actually a pretty decent middle ground map for both, to close this one out, to stay alive in ESL Challenger League Season 49. Flay is boosted up. He needs something. Sees arms, but he's going to be met with HEs and can't hit his shot.
I mean, that had to be the moment he he hits a shot and finds some influence. He's still getting aggressive, and he
I like
sees
this.
the gun being switched out. So he knows one's close by, knows another should be outside those doors, but he still needs to find his impact. They've yet to spring into action. He finally pulls the trigger. They were worried about the prospect of a flank. Jaquinha was holding for behind, so not in a position to trade. So Flay gets his kill and backs off. They've found a man advantage, but Wolves have been very good at bailing themselves out of situations like this so far. You just see how paranoid the Rebels are. I mean, they're looking behind, they're spreading out, they're constantly fighting for minor nuggets of information. They will find something. Say we're caught back exposed. Still 2 players positioned over at B here for the Wolves, and the Rebels are not in great positions to defend.
Another miss from Flay as well. It's not like Tomoko could really swing off his contact because he's down to 24 as well. Matthias wants to swing it. He's done an amazing half so far, even if you exclude the eco frag ace. Gotta give him his
The longer they
dues.
wait.
And plant will come through again. Matthias is still set up, but there is that big flank to worry about. Thankfully it will go down, but the trades come in. Good try again from Matthias, but Rebels get a consolation 3rd round. I really don't think that's going to be enough, but Copenhagen Wolves, they are still very much in control and probably should take this to a 3rd. We'll see if that's the reality we live in after the break.
Safety nets are overrated, yeah. If you make one, you will fall. Too much of a temptation, yeah. There's a comfort in the crawl. Now I've been on my feet too long. I know I'm strong, just looking for some solid ground. So I can start to run. I don't wanna be tired, moving so bad, I don't wanna be tired. Feels like it's my time. I don't need you now. Don't you waste your time.
I pack my suitcase, headed out the door. I keep my shoes laced. 2,000 miles away from home. A couple dollars in my pocket, never stopped the boy before. I load my bags and hit the road.
Miles past, turning back, found my track, face the facts, she a core one.
Two maps in the series played so far, and, well, we're only halfway through the second map, but one-sided first halves on both of them. Both the picks of the teams that lead, Copenhagen Wolves with a 9-3 start on that T side. There were a couple rounds that were close, but they always had that extra edge. To see if the Rebels can do the same on T. Quest starting well on the pistol. Double aggression from Donut, but taking a lot of damage on both him and Tapeware. They will be hard-pressed to maintain this man advantage.
Play was head down. Oh my goodness, by Lani. That was a pure strafe kill. Movement accuracy with the USP is pretty decent, so looks crazy, but then gets a bit of revenge from Tomiko. They're all so low, bless them. I mean, how on earth are they getting away with this? They're being given these picks one by one. They're having to cross angles that are already being held. Tomiko will try and go back. Should get both of these kills, but he doesn't know the second player is so low in Tapeware. That smoke is not going to do much, I don't think. It's actually going to force him to force the fight. So, he's got Kevlar Tomiko himself. Could have our 4th ace of the series if he's able to pull this off. But already, Matthias and Jaquinho are in good positions, and there's a lovely tap. He's having a very, very solid map, is Matthias, and I think he's definitely proving me slightly wrong, and maybe causing me to put him as one to watch in my head for the future.
Yeah, he's done really well on pistol rounds. He's done well against the anti-ecos. I mean, we can't skirt that, but he's had more than his fair share of influence on gun rounds as well within this game. Maybe not so much on Nuke, but that's always going to be a difficulty when new to the team, or sometimes the slot isn't available. There's been some weird things happening with the Copenhagen Wolves roster, but he's done enough here to, I think, also warrant a little bit of a keener observation in the future.
Agreed. So this one could be done pretty quickly in the end.
Yeah. So full force here from Rebels. 1 AK for Kisarek, and the rest on pistols.
Tapeware is playing Jaguar with the best gun in the game, obviously.
Yeah, we love the XM.
Could be delivered some action as well. It's the worst skin in the game for it, I will say. But the boost... Oh, he hasn't seen the gun barrel. I think he did see a tiny little pixel of that on Kisarek. They actually do, I think, make their way down silently there. I'm pretty certain. But he is going to go looking now. Oh, the timing. He could have found a brilliant timing. That is so painful for Innocent. Takes a lot of damage on the spin, actually. It could have even been 2 if they weren't ready for that. But now the utility will come flying in.
Just going to hazard straight through those smokes. A blow of the smoke here on short, and it's perfect there for Jaquinho. Once again, there's a lot of damage taken onto these Copenhagen Wolves members. Bailani down to 22, but spam is good onto Tomiko, so walking wounded even in this afterplan, and once these smokes fade, they'll be in for a world of hurt if they don't find some space right back. It's still either doubling up for long, but there's a flank to worry about, and Mateos will find it, while Bailani sweeps up the pieces over on long. All 5 stay alive. Once again, these wounded members, not all of them go punished.
Yeah, I think at 11-3 as well, there's no reason for them to just drop the weaponry and upgrade to M4s when the next buy coming in is only on 3k per player again. I wouldn't be surprised if Rebels actually decide to go for a buy here as they're so far behind. Usually maybe you'd go pistol armor if it was a close game to try and do some damage to the economy, but already we bought up the Galils, and it might just go 4 Galils, there we go. Very limited utility with those Galils. That's why Innocent has gone for the Deagle to buy up something to work with, but as I said, Copenhagen Wolves will stick with what they've managed to buy up in the round prior. No reason to change. A couple of rounds away from Mirage.
Yes, the middling map, an understandable decider, but we've seen 2 very different looks from both squads across these maps so far. Yeah, albeit, they're obviously picking into their comforts, also maybe exploiting some of the weaknesses of their opponent in the interim. It's kind of a double whammy in the selections. The Rebels are pretty all in on this buy. Mateos, very good first kill, but good spacing for Silva to find that trade. There's still 2 more members here on this A bomb side, and they're very quick-footed to try and reinforce.
Yeah, it's awkward for Quez with the MP9. He does usually play tough positions. Wow, okay. Innocent definitely makes it look tough as he flies into the angle, gets gifted an MP9. Here comes the XM, thankfully. Slightly wider angle from Tomiko works out, and they do trade by landing as well. continue wild back and forth, but Jaquinho struggling with the A1S at that particular angle. And Flay will grab that one. So, bit of a lifeline with that low buy round. Had to force up the girls again. Didn't want to let Copenhagen Wolves get to 12. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the value as well for the Wolves and being able to retain 5 alive versus the first force buy, and now they're floating in with another buy here, albeit, with some weaker weaponry, but nothing too significantly worse than what they had in the prior round. They're going to be a little bit more aggressive with this buy, however. See if they can disrupt this fast mid-control that the Rebels are going for, but that smoke that they used to disrupt the Molotov actually blocks and allows Rebels out.
Oh my goodness, Kisarek. Just found the opening, but the damage on Quest as well. All that smoke. Almost awkward there for Rebels. I thought for a second it might have seen an arm or something as they tried to shift back through it and give
Russian
prep
bowl of
opportunity.
smokes. It's just another one where it came from.
Yeah. Okay, it's a gamble rotation from Copenhagen Wolves, and they'd be right to do so. They have got that mid-presence of Jaquinho, but you've got the other three mostly focused on this B-bomb site. And if, Rebels do one of their normal, what could be classed as a pretty normal call here, and just run one player into A, or at least shift walk in and find it's clear, they can still rotate the bomb over, but it doesn't look like they're preparing their proper execute into the stack.
It's dangerous.
Oh.
Good spam. Yeah, they just find Bailani trying to play ahead of that short smoke. Tapeware up close on the ramp, and with Quez being so low HP, playing around the smoke is going to get spammed. Jaquinho may have found his kill on that lurking presence in middle, but that's no way into the round for him. So the Rebels, even though they go into 3 players, courtesy of a little bit of spam, they break into that B bomb site, pretty much no sweat off their brow. Just reset, execute, take site. Sometimes Counter-Strike can be beautifully simple.
Yeah. Jaquinho looking to try and keep hold of the A1S, but he is being somewhat hunted, but I don't think Rebels will want to give away too many weapons here. Their money isn't built up much at all, so 3 alive being the majority, they'd want to keep that for sure. There we go. Getting themselves in touch in the round. And the game. And now, you don't really buy around this if you're Copenhagen Wolves here. I don't see a reason to do anything too crazy when you've got a lead to work with. One Deagle looks like it might be all we get.
Well, quick mid-control, but a rather grouped play towards the A bomb site already being lined up here by the Rebels. They're going towards Mateos, though, who has a Deeg. Currently sits 22 and 8, so a player that can certainly thrive and may be given chances to. Sobel wasn't really looking the right way, but had a teammate behind him that did tag Mateos on that first swing. So it will be an easy cleanup on the A bomb site. Kisarek taking a lot of damage, both Tapeware and Quez pincering in from Donut, and Jaquinho strikes with his M4. It's into a 3-on-3 with that bomb down. How long will Innocent wait?
Oh, that's unfortunate. Flay, good spin. This takes Quez as well, and Jaquinho's not ready for Innocent to still be waiting in mid on the retreat. So, okay, that's 6. Again, the buy is going to be a little bit iffy here. I mean, Matthias has already gone straight in for the MP9 and full util. So, yeah, I think for me right now, there's definitely a world. I always say that if your opponent's run 11 and still need 2 to win, you always feel like you're in the game. They're making some decent calls here too.
And they made that gamble with the investment. They got that, lifeline back into this game, and yeah, it still puts that pressure on the Wolves that they could lose this game still. But nice forward position there from Mateos. This time they didn't fly out middle, didn't try and take that timing, and because of that, they go 1 for 1. Tank control does come at a bit of a cost. Something that they haven't had to play around too much. Tapeware just sat in that nade. It made contact with him, and he didn't move a muscle. Just accepted his fate. He was going to lose health. Could have lost less, but just decided 52. Why not? They've totally seeded the A-bomb site. Not a consideration here for the Wolves at all.
That is common, I would say, especially on this map. Very retakeable bomb site, but
you just have to hope they don't take a timing, though. Is the main problem with this type of play?
That's what they've got Quez doing what he's doing right now. It's like quickly going back to check it every now and then. And we'll see the utility fly in now, so they're completely out, Rebels, actually. They've got one flash left, and they've just used it. So they're going to have to commit and go for the plant on B. Look at the damage onto Kisarek on the cross. Innocent will get the plant down in the end, but now he's been tagged significantly. Oh my goodness, these smoke spams are being an absolute menace right now to the Polish squad. And this retake, even though you're kitless, feels like you're in a really good position.
They're double smoked off themselves. So while there are resources not available here for the Rebels, they're finding spams through those smokes as well. These smokes are not doing favors to anyone that has thrown them. 10-second stick, it's gonna be destroyed. Bailani dealt with, and they're spamming through that wood wall. They don't have time to play from now. These smokes played against both teams that threw them, from the pre-plant to the post-plant. The Wolves definitely had the resources, the numbers, but they cannot pull it together in the retake. That is such a shame, because they staged the start of that retake perfectly, from the incendiary on the back of the bomb site with the covering spam. They understood Innocent was going to get out of that incendiary. They found that extra leverage, and it all seemed like it could work, but you know, the Rebels were playing far enough back and in positions where they could spam that plant that it ended up being for naught.
Ooh, the run boost is a particularly clean one for Quez, actually. One of the speedier editions of it I've seen. Sometimes that can be fumbled a little bit quite easily. And there we go. He does get his opening. Gets 2 for that 2. The Innocent has got a freebie here, but actually takes damage getting that freebie. Thankfully, Flay is a saving grace for Rebels there. Because probably Innocent should have gone down. Mateus and Jaquinho, good check from Kisarek. That is the important one. Now Mateus will be completely smoked off, and Flay will take that one as well. It's not clean, and it's definitely nervy on a number of occasions, but Rebels are finding a way here.
It's again a good counter reaction. You know, the Wolves had this happen to them as well on that T side, where they got double pushed from the ledge and cave play, where they were losing out on these fights, and it can be very difficult to sort of disengage from those duels. You know, if you sit around on ledge too long, you're maybe expecting to be swung from elbow. You could get, you know, Molotov naded. You could just be ran down. There's a number of different ways that can go wrong, and so it's very much almost like a fight to die position. But you know, there are scenarios where you can maybe slink back into cave and the sort. But when you're as aggressive as the Wolves were in taking that control, when you push forward to keep pressing the issue at the doors, there is effectively no way out. And you can see that they got caught with util. They're skarmering up to ledge boxes to try and save their teammate. And it puts them wildly out of position as well. You know, they understood that a man was likely to die, but they also didn't need to give up those positions in order to save him.
Oh, Matthias is going very far forward here. Should be heard, and it's a very weird 1-for-1 bottom mid. The molly in toward the cubby, that will force Quez forward and actually gets good damage, but again by Lani peeking on the timing. Innocent was half blind for that trade as well. I don't know how he gets that one. 14 HP to spare.
How does he get that?
Pretty crazy.
Full flashed, crosshair nowhere near him, running, gunning, and he managed to trade him. So yeah, this could have been a man advantage where Bailani slinked back into that red smoke, and instead it's 2-on-2 where the map is pretty wide open for the Rebels.
Yeah, and Innocent surviving keeps that full utility in his belt as well. If he dies, obviously Flay, he wasn't that close to him at the time. Maybe he only picks up one nade, if any at all. He would have had a molly only. Now, they've actually got an opportunity to deliver here, and they don't know the B-bomb site's clear, but it is, and they've got an opportunity for an afterplant, and the retake for Copenhagen Wolves would have an AWP.
Yeah, they have to take long, and they'll plant so they're not exposed to the spam from Cave. So 2-on-2, where, yeah, these deep positions could be attained by Rebels, and Jaquinho's the one with the kit. There is none dropped on the site because of the carnage inside of middle, so if Tapeware falls, or he's too detached like they're playing from, then this round could just blow up in their face.
Yeah, great position for Flay. Good flash as well, and then gets the information on where Tapeware is, and a slight adjustment of crosshair placement makes it a freebie, and Jaquinho will even be allowed to leave. It's being held, it's a good shot, and now he's allowed to leave. Only just, though. The two AWPers will survive with an AK and AWP apiece. But the gap's now 2, Michael.
They genuinely do just keep on coming up with solutions. They keep finding the open ground. The Wolves are, because of all that aggression in through mid, you know, especially because it's 3 members that they see at the start of the round. How often do you see fast mid-control takes that link up to, you know, a quick A-split? That's, you know, a very common line. I think it's probably what the Wolves were expecting as well. It's why they pulled away their B player to keep eyes on A while they retain mid-control. Yeah, the Rebels are closing the gap, but, you know, they're finding these creative solutions, maybe half expecting these compensatory moves by the Wolves. Once again, it feels like kind of like what the Wolves were doing on T side. They're kind of reading their opponent and thinking that step ahead, finding that open ground where it is.
I thought the third map was a guarantee at 11-3. The Rebels have built their score up to 9. Be pining for that decider. Well, Copenhagen Wolves, but could be denied. Could be a clean 2-0. Could be eliminated from the season. Matthias close in red room. The MP9 trying to... There we go. It actually does work as a bait in the end, but didn't think Quez would be expecting to have his head ripped off like that so aggressively. He was trying a faster swing. It's a great catch from Kisarek. Trade comes through though. Jaquinho is in position toward B, and they have 3 players here. Oh my goodness. Awkward plant spot actually for Innocent. I wanted to get spammed through the more normal aggressive smoke spams, knowing how he got taken down in one of those previous rounds. So it changes it up a little bit, and that's actually pretty smart, I would say.
Yeah.
Because now Sobel, he gets his 1. Innocent's gotten away safely. There is kits on Matthias and Jaquinho here, though. It could still get weird. Tapeware's coming on the timing. They're both ignoring the position, and now they know where Innocent is at least. But that's a huge headshot from the captain. And now Jaquinho has to fight with both these 2 duels. Not allowed to get out. Great catch from Flay. Wow, they are figuring these ones out in impressive fashion.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason they lower their guard there to Cave is Flay was ramp and he peeked. He thought he'd cleared it entirely and that there wouldn't be a timing, but yeah, there was a real chance there for Tapeware. If he got both those kills instantly, would have just created so much more room. A secondary threat as well in that after plant, but yeah, the Rebels just keep on finding these bailouts, or you know, the Wolves are sometimes... that was one of the few times it feels like they missed an opportunity to really pull through in these rounds. The Rebels have just managed to squeak out these edges, and they are now 1 shy of tying things up at 11-11 a pop. I was with you. I thought this was an inevitability. We go map 3, but Jaquinho in the pocket, fully flashed, and they'll know he's here. That smoke as well is so telling of a player trying to play inside of the pocket, and Jaquinho just gets overwhelmed. It's Quez that blows the smoke and answers back, but they have ceded a lot of ground in through middle. Quez may even be pressured to keep on taking those fights by Lanny. A nice frag to find it back into 3-on-3. Oh, but Kisarek hasn't checked behind him, and Quez will.
Oh, what the hell? Back turn from Flay? Hello? You're not hearing him run towards you, brother? That's awkward. Now, Innocent, the bomb might be down, but he needs to clutch 1 versus 3, and Bailani just perfectly found him as he walks the smoke. Okay, that is... After all the good work from Rebels throughout this massive comeback, that one is all over the place compared.
Yeah, I mean, they start off with effectively 2 clean picks in mid, right? They get the donut player, they find Jaquinho in pocket, and if it wasn't for Quez blowing that smoke, there effectively is no more additional chaos that could be thrown into the round by the Wolves, but it really did feel like that sprung the round back into life for the Copenhagen Wolves, even without the secondary kill. But then comms break down. I'm with you. I don't understand why Flay was back-turned, not expecting quick donut action when Quez knows his position has been given up. Or Jaquinho again.
He got himself in a good position. Boost up now on the B lane boxes. I think they are aware of that, and they most certainly are now, and should get found by the shelf player. And this is actually falling apart now. Rebels have pulled it back so far, but it might all be in vain. Tomoko wants one more. They're playing very aggressively on this because they're waiting for a trade from Sobel. They do get it, and actually Flay, he's no-scope headshot Jaquinho somewhere. Don't ask me how or where. It was back on that flank, but gets away with it somehow. And now they've got good after-plant utility. Molly off CT. Don't have to worry about it anymore and can focus more on Cave. Oh no, they lined up. And Flay almost got collateraled by the AK tapeware. I think they both got a headshot in that position, but Flay still wins it.
Oh, I don't understand.
That, like, they both hit a headshot, right? It was a headshot through into Flay, but he still won the round.
Yeah, well, the problem was that Flay didn't want to shoot his teammate.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
It was unfortunate from that point of view, but then when he was looking back at short, I think there was a chance that Mateos may have even spotted his gun barrel. It would have been very minor, because that AWP is so long. But yeah, he just gets caught. Also, Flay hit the no-scope from bottom B ramp all the way to ledge.
Yeah, I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah, I saw it happen on the minimap. It's
yeah, definitely want to look back maybe on a POV demo watch later to see how Flay actually dealt with that.
Hope he uploads it himself.
I hope he does. He's a funny dude from what I've seen from him in the past. I reckon he will tweet it. Quez in position. That's a good hold. Can they get this one done in regulation, or do we actually have an overtime? Rebels have bailed themselves out of an impossible situation. And a funny one with that almost lineup in toward Flay, but he survives, and they are trading their way in here. Smoke being played with, it's so dangerous for Bailani. Here's a reload. The bomb will be committed to, and he could just charge through. They're barely guarding it, like you say, and he actually finds Innocent first. It's absolutely descended into madness in the last few rounds of reg here.
Oh no. It's Flay, a 1-on-3, playing close, and the wall will cover tapeware. It's a long, grueling effort for the Rebels to get back into this Ancient. At the 9-3 first half, an 11-3 scoreline. They claw it back all the way to the full 24, but it will be at that final hurdle that the Copenhagen Wolves close out on their map pick.
I mean, it probably should have been done a lot sooner, but yeah, Flay kept it interesting for a little bit, that's for sure. That's crazy end to the map. Definitely more evidence as to why maybe Rebels have a poor record on it recently, because a lot of them were all over the place, but they did have that streak of 7 or 8, which was really solid. Unfortunately, kind of regressed a little bit at the end of the game, looking for more ideas, and Copenhagen Wolves found the answer on a map they love so much. They're 31st playing in 3 months.
And listen, this is the thing with both these squads. I think if we look at it in like a full scope macro, you know, these weren't the most well put together. They weren't well manufactured in the same sense that you might see teams that are at the height of the meta on maps like Ancient. But this was more of a DIY, crafty type of game for both the squads, where they were finding these tricky, crafty solutions to these rounds. And, you know, they got most of the way there with those crafty solutions. You don't always need to go to the big manufacturers.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a story of the game in the end, because it was very back and forth in terms of how each half has played out, but Yeah, Copenhagen Wolves will be delighted to get it over the line and get themselves into a third map decider to stay alive. Both these two have one more map to play. That's Mirage, that's our third map decider, and that is where we're going to find the, I guess, who survives in ESL Challenger League this season, because it's been a bit of a brawl that will most likely continue after the break.
Think you've seen it all? With Faceit Watch's Point of View Selector, you can experience the game from any pro's perspective. Use the multi-view feature and customize the stream with up to 4 angles. Control what points you see while earning rewards. Drops are activated and lucky winners will receive Faceit points. And if you ever miss a match, VODs are now available. Get instant access to demos with multiple POVs and commentary. Watch it, control it, Faceit.
Don't want a slow rise now. I'm confident opulence isn't a long ride out. When I look back now, I'm astounded. A quiet boy from old age, but always thought the world was a stage. Yeah. I celebrate one last late night. My old life, they stay.
I pack my suitcase, headed out the door. I keep my shoes laced. 2,000 miles away from home. A couple dollars in my pocket, never stopped the boy before. I load my bags and hit the road.
I'm headed to LA. I'm headed on my way. I'm headed on my way to LA. Headed on my way soon.
Couple thousand miles, throw it on the dash. Shit, the 10,000 hours, can't let them pass. Yeah, well, I was putting time in, you was pulled up wildin'. You always had shit to say, now when I see you, it's silence. Thought I'd have a Grammy by 25. Commas after commas next to dollar sign, yeah. To remind myself why I'm living this life. Look at all the late nights, it'll all come in due time, yeah.
Made for the fight, for the pain and the climb. Tied to the life I chose. Stay through the night, another day, not a dime. Race against time. I couldn't just lay by and wonder what I could have made mine. I'm closing on the moment, no one's gonna hold me down.
I pack my suitcase, headed out the door. I keep my shoes laced. 2,000 miles away from home. A couple dollars in my pocket, never stopped the boy before. I load my bags and hit the road.
A third map decider to stay alive between Copenhagen Wolves and Rebels. Two teams that find themselves in that lower bracket. And on this third map decider of Mirage, they're both, honestly, pretty decent middle ground map for both. But I think on the scale of things, overall, I would still take Rebels, considering Copenhagen Wolves only just scraped it on their pick.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that they had this significant lead, they were playing a fantastic T side, even if it was a little scrappy, a little brawly. You know, the Rebels did much of the same on their own T side, but I was expecting the Wolves to, you know, be as assertive as the Rebels were on their own map pick, especially after that hot start. So for them, they've probably had a little bit of wavering confidence as a result of the near-miss loss on their map pick. And I think the Rebels have shown, I think, a little bit of diversity in the way that they've played to a greater degree than the Wolves have. I think, especially on CT side, I'm noticing there's sort of a lack of appropriate reaction from the Wolves. You know, the Rebels on their CT side, by comparison, looked a lot better on Nuke when they were, you know, transferring different areas of the map or, you know, reasserting themselves in areas. And sure, they had some stumblings on Ancient as well. Yeah. You know, with some curious repositions. But, you know, on Mirage, for both these squads, I'm not expecting them to show that weakness. You know, their opportunities or the choices that they make should be better contained. There should be less overcooking to a certain extent.
Yeah, and if you look at the previous results as well, I mean, it's not just these stats here that make me think Rebels will win, but I'll read them out anyway. Copenhagen Wolves have had wins against the likes of Unity, Sinners, not bad. Forza Reload, Astralis Talent, one against Cubics the other day. Sure, they've lost to Rush B, Aurora and Eyeballers, probably expected results. But then you look at Rebels. It's not all very close in terms of time. There are a few that are back in the end of January at this point. But they've beaten Fnatic once, they've beaten Kono, and they've beaten Aurora. Less reps, for sure, overall. Quite a significant difference, actually, with 22 for Copenhagen Wolves compared to 6 for Rebels. But I do think they have been playing better Counter-Strike today, have been looking the cleaner in terms of their individual skill as well. So, for me, Copenhagen Wolves are still a bit of a mishmash of a team, like I said. I feel like Rebels should get over the line, despite the lack of reps. But, you know, I've seen crazier things happen.
Yeah, it's unfortunately partly to do with their descent in the VRS. You know, much the same as many of the teams, is that you get less opportunities as a result of falling further down. You don't get as many of those invites. You cannot get those reps in much the same way. So, yeah, I think that's been a great difficulty, especially when we look at a lot of these tier 2 teams that we've looked at for the past few years that we'd always look at and think, oh, they've got another game today, or oh well, that team's always playing. We kind of don't get those same squads in the same way anymore. And sure, there are names that are surfacing now towards the middle portion of the season that we look at and think, oh yeah, they are just, you know, hard grinding through, and there's chances to make the MRQ and the sort. But, you know, first getting into that opportunity realm can be quite trying and quite complicated. And, you know, making it through the lower bracket, potentially fighting in through those playoffs to get a chance at Pro League, those are the things that you need to then elevate yourself through those VRS. You need to get upset wins, and Rebels, you know, by VRS standings, they are the lower seeded team coming into this game against the Copenhagen Wolves, and so this would be deemed a VRS upset, which would be a nice point swing for the Rebels squad.
Yeah, and obviously it's just a prediction and not an absolute fact, but the idea, if you look at the VRS forecast, which has been re-added, of course, to HLTV pages, the Rebels would gain 7 places. So that's something, could get them in near that top 100 once again for future CCT invites when Season 3 begins, for example. So everything like that it will matter, without a shadow of a doubt. And yeah, but funny enough about these major invites with the MRQs and stuff, they do kind of like rightfully spread the tiers, you know? Like, I feel like a lot of people question what's tier 2, what's tier 1.5, what's tier 3, which way do you look? But it does feel like to me that like everyone below the official MRQ spots, which right now ends with like 9 in Medisport, for example, everyone below that could be classed as like tier 2.5 if you really want to go a bit deeper into it, right?
Sure.
And then the ones just above that are tier 1.5, whatever, like in stage 2, like Astralis, your Gamer Legion, VP, 3D Max, that sort of team. And then you have your tier 1 and S tier, who are already through to stage 3 and playoffs, and probably confirmed that for the likes of Vitality and Mouse, for example. So the teams like that we're watching today, they're in that tier 3. They're in that sort of slightly lower tier of teams, which is a massive group of squads who are just trying to get every win possible, to play as many online events as possible, to one day get more invites into either bigger events or, just to start with, smaller events like this.
Yeah, I mean, these are all massive opportunities, especially when we start talking about prize pools. It's sometimes not even just about winning or losing your games. That's where the calibrations with the VRS and how the prize pool affects it can, still inflate your ranking, even if you have poor results at big opportunities, but you have to get to those big opportunities first. So, yeah, the chances are fleeting. There's always opportunities, and, even if they are outside of this MRQ bracket, their, campaign is, I guess, focused more on the second major of the year, or in the second qualifying group.
Yeah.
So that's where every single one of these games still holds significance. And yeah, it's kind of surprising to see this, I guess, stretched out as long as it has within this best of 3, considering, I think, amongst our discussions, we're looking at the Copenhagen Wolves and thinking, are they settled on this roster? Like, is Shane playing, or is he not playing? Is Mattios the long-term solution? There's a couple question marks about the team, and this is kind of the right time to undergo some roster changes if they are going to make them, and look forward to that second major cycle. But
yeah,
for the Rebels, they've been far more consistent about their philosophy and their approach, and they've leaned full Polish, and they've been able to, I guess, foster in some newer pieces, but also bring in some experience. I think they've got a nice rounded group of players, even if they may be a little capped in terms of how far they can go. You would expect that they show that extra bit of polish, even with their rapid descent through the VRS at the start of the season.
Yeah, and we were talking about how this means for the VRS, how this means for the MRQ, but important thing, these two teams are technically not out of contention for Pro League. I know it's very, very, very unlikely they'll make it through from this lower bracket run, but we've seen crazier things and seen some amazing runs in the past, like Sangal, for example. So, it's all up for grabs. There's only one spot in the entire season, of course, for that one spot in ESL Pro League in Season 22. And this, obviously, technically then counts as like a qualifier in the Valve rules. And these are precious. I mean, we've seen only other, qualifiers being put on for, occasional blast things. Occasionally, we've got, of course, Bucharest and Astana having qualifiers on. But Dallas, of course, probably the most important ESL one so far this year, the IEM Dallas qualifiers. And I do believe Season 22 of ESL Pro League will have qualifiers as well. So this is a really important event to get these teams from the lower tier to get the opportunity to play at a LAN, even if it's a studio LAN, which Pro League will be. Yeah,
it's just nice that, and I'd love to see stats about this in the future, leagues like this continuing to exist, because not only have they served as a gateway into some of these S-tier tournaments, but then, especially with the frequency, it's exactly what you want for all the ranking movement. So, third map in the series, Fight or Die. This is how both teams are feeling coming into Mirage. It's Copenhagen Wolves that start on that CT side, while the Rebels set up for an A-side attack. A lot of util already expelled, and they will find a very free A-bomb site. Nobody CT, no one that can contest, no nades to blow open smokes. A full 5-on-5 for the post plant.
Yeah, they have this all-important singular flashbang as well to do the old classic, take CT. But they do get good information off the back of it. They see, I think, 2 players there, if I'm not mistaken. Very close, and they're going to choose to take jungle instead with 2. Jaquinho is here waiting. He hears what's coming his way. A good jump, but a good reaction to find a 1-for-1. There is a smoke kit available on Tapeway. That could change things. Quez has found one more as well. That bomb timer is going lower, and that kit's actually been dropped on the floor. Now it's madness, but they are going to get all the kills. Where is that kit on the ground? Can they find it? Do they even need it? They're fine.
Yes, they did. They did need it. They ultimately did need it in the end, but they just barely managed the defuse. They had run short on time. But man, the Copenhagen Wolves, they cannot lose a pistol round. They simply refuse to. They've won every pistol in this series so far. They're 5 for 5.
Yeah, that is...
And that looked
massive
great for
help.
the Rebels as well.
It did, yeah. I mean, that fell apart at the end of it, really. I did, as you say, very worried that scramble at the end. I was mostly focused when I saw on the kill feed that Tape Prayer had died, like where the kit was, if someone had picked it up, and then immediately, while I was focusing on that, all the kills fly in for them, right? So, I didn't know if someone else was sticking it directly after that. Then we figured out that they definitely needed it. They were fumbling for it a little bit. Bit of panic for sure, but I'll get the win.
That's all that matters. Well, seen a lot of XM usage.
He loves
And
it.
not a bad weapon on force buys, especially anti-ecos. So, a little bit of versatility, but end up in a post plant. It can be a little bit difficult to make this work. It's got considerable range.
And it's surprising, isn't it? Sometimes if they've got no helmet as well, the Nova can be a bit of a sniper.
Yeah, true. Like
Many
a Nova,
player
but
I've
it shoots
seen-
faster.
True. The only player I've seen use a Nova recently is Nathany for some crazy reason. Don't know why that is a match made in heaven, but he did well with it. Here comes the XM though. That's some money. Even some jump shot accuracy. That's a little bit much, but I know Flay's last alive, and look who's here. Aquino is always going to clear it up. We didn't want that XM into the next round. He gets his one. That's a good, what is it, $900 in the bank from it. So all
You
good.
really need 2 to justify the purchase, but hell, it's better than the rifles when you're thinking about, strict kill rewards. Yeah, they don't even have an SMG to deal with the pistols out of them. They would have seen that it was head armor, so they'll have known that was a force buy there for the Rebels, but they're not expecting too much resistance, and investment into rifles in the following round after you buy SMGs would be unideal. Quez, nade-pulled Staring Palace, does lose a lot of HP for that exchange.
I would like to, as this eco comes through, I think it should be all good. Starting well. I'd like to correct my statement. There's a patch that I've forgotten about. That's why I checked it. A light bulb went up and off on top of my head. Oh, that nade is actually just smack Flay in the chest. It's quite amusing. Round will be cleared up. But yeah, the kill reward for a shotgun now is 600, not 900. Apologies. That was on April 25th, 2024. That was changed. I'm glad I checked.
Yeah, we just don't see shotguns as frequently. I didn't even catch you on that, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, you were right not to, because I only realised after you replied to me. So, yeah. It's apparently 300 in casual, but no sane human being plays casual, and 600 in regular matchmaking now.
I love that they're still updating for casual. Yep. It's my favorite thing. 3-0 start here for the Copenhagen Wolves, and an AWP out for Flay, which will be uncontested here on the Wolves side. Chiquinho's on an M4. It's like they didn't have a route to leading with that. But decide against it, want full weaponry, and it's not like the Rebels are going to be shortchanged on util, so a lot of mid-control pressure, underpass perusing, and the Wolves will sit back behind those smokes for now.
Yeah,
I
Rebels
like the
actually,
choice.
we'll know how important this gun round is, because the Wolves have got a bank to fall back on. Need to stop it early before it gets out of hand. Alani and Ladarum will be hearing the movement toward mid. We'll see all the trajectory of the utility. We'll choose to jump onto the bricks, and he checked for Sobble perfectly. Wow, that couldn't have been better for him.
Yeah, perfect gap in the smoke, and Chiquinho had the other exit out from the mid-control into Con. He's got 3 on A. Double play in for Palace and Ramp. Kisarek does throw that flash for himself, and Quez won't fold. It's actually Mateos that forces the fight by Lani, able to find a kill from behind, but now being trapped, able to actually escape out from jungle. I'm not sure that there was info gathered there from Innocent, but Kisarek gets his kill from the side itself. So now Tapeware caught behind a Molotov. It's actually Kisarek that dies to the HE. Innocent gets himself to triple, but in a spammable spot. I mean, 20 bullets in that A1S. not exactly conducive to forcing this fight completely, and so Innocent goes for the swing on a timing. Tapeware, a great adjustment, and a clutch to follow. It's a 4th round for the Wolves.
Yeah, in a position like that for Innocent, right? In a position like that for Innocent, you probably know you can just wait if you're Tapeware, right? You know he's going to have to swing at some point. You've got a kit. You can force him into feeling uncomfortable. He'll swing eventually. If you're got CT, you can probably play an afterplant, play behind the corner, play on the bin, play anywhere, and feel all right. If you've been seen moving into triple, you always feel like your opponent is going to move at some point. So he just stuck himself there. He had 9 bullets in the ONS, didn't fake a reload or anything, just trusted his aim and got his just reward. But Flay will start off the following round critically with an opening on Matthias.
And Chiquinho does have an AWP to try and counter in some capacity, and he's set up to try and reposition on B. That's where the AWP of Flay is also set up for, and he will find not 1, but 2 picks to open up this round.
Our player to watch getting critical impact. And a good map 2, despite losing. That clutch on B was pretty stunning. For many different reasons. And I think they're making a good call here, Rebels, as well. Tapeware has picked up the AWP and is moving away with it just to play market, a more safer position to look toward. Probably murder hole. Could even creep through and look for a pick toward mid, and Rebels just using the time in the round right now to just bleed them out. They're now going to take B properly. That will be known by Copenhagen Wolves in a matter of seconds, and we know what we're doing with these 3 rifles. If Quez was on a big flank, like now, and behind the bomb, maybe, then you would consider maybe moving closer with Bailani and Tapeware, but no reason to. You will find 1 on the side. Money? Money?
Yeah, why not?
The left click backstab into the right click.
Disrespect.
You could just double left click him. That's almost more disrespectful. But I think he's found the most tilting option. You could have just right clicked him. He left clicked him. And then right clicked him. Love that.
I have to say, left clicking is safer than right clicking because of the added range.
Yeah.
But it's... yeah, I mean, it still comes across pretty BM.
Especially if you're going to right click anyway.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Flay survived from the bomb with 3 HP. Maybe a bit closer than you realised there.
Yeah. It's all good. It just took a lot of armor damage.
Very rarely you do see that come back to bite teams. Inferno mostly, if they've stayed alive and taken nades every single round, say you're the banana defaulter.
It's also harder to track now. You know, once upon a time we used to see the armor number on HUDs, but it's so rare that it happens that it has it is kind of like defunct information.
Yeah, you kind of have to see the armor disappear, I suppose. Like see the helmet and a little shield icon disappear if it does happen. I've seen it happen a few times, and have seen pros just forget to rebuy armor because it just never happens, right? Understandably. Jaquinho in position towards short, does get his kill on toward Flay. Again, a good find on his counterpart. We've got an early 4v3 here. Tomiko's got a great presence upstairs, but he was never really going to get further than that. It felt like he was always running into a brick wall that consisted of counter-terrorists. So, Sobel, 1v4, not much to hope here.
Yeah. I mean, great reactions there from Quez as well. You know, not forcing the duel onto the stairs player, just kept attention. It's a bit of a curious-looking clear there from Bailani, but he had Quez behind him, so no problems. Trades were lined up, and the Wolves responded to that fast aggression quite handily. You know, very, very quick-footed. Got themselves into positions where they could pair together and cover each other off.
Great start for Quez as well.
Yeah, no, he's been doing great so far. We have to really see the Wolves contest mid, but maybe that kind of leans into their game plan coming into this map, is allowing the Rebels to operate there in a meaningful capacity.
How?
Good opening leg shot there from Flay. Caught Matthias on the cross to con from ramp.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the only way he could have taken that damage. Yeah, and Qua's always been a player that I've thought is really good for like a certain level, like professional tier. I've always been quite respected him because he's pretty much in his entire career on Tricked, which was most of his career, to be fair to him. He always played pretty much every single B anchor role and didn't do a bad job of it in a tough situation. So, foot, yeah. Goes for a spray though, doesn't actually want to move any further forward and maybe just get a cleaner go at Sobel, and that might cost him. He does get run down. That's big for Sobel. Jaquinho is here though. It's a good find and a good reposition toward the corner of the default box. Kisarek was distracted elsewhere as well. Then the Jaquinho could get one more. Tapeware holding around the con smoke. Worried that it could be a bit of stairs presence. Jaquinho is still default with the AWP. A tough position, but he made it work for him. They have rotated into B, and it's a bomb going in first, knowing it's a clear site.
Yeah, just a late stage rotate. Tapeware on bad timing. Tomiko just got round the edge of short where that box covered him. So, yeah, Copenhagen Wolves a little bit too quick on those rotates. I mean, with the amount of pressure mounting on A, you could certainly understand why they felt like there was an urgency set up by Rebels, but once they heard those feet step away from B, like you said, realized it was an open site. But a nice job there from Jaquinho shutting down that initial A play.
Yeah, this round's definitely not his fault, that's for sure. That's the most he could possibly do. Innocent didn't even have a primary weapon in that round, but he was the one tasked with going to plant the bomb. Grabs the AK at the end. Bit of extra money in the bank thanks to that. We'll drop one now.
I also agree with you in general with Quez. You know, I think there's a lot of lack of, I guess, notable soldiers in this realm of CS. And in general, you know, when we start looking further and further up the rankings at like tier 1 teams, I think it becomes more and more difficult to measure the value of what those types of players do, in that, you know, they're often given bad positions, or they're given less resources, or they're often left on islands, and that's never going to be easy to recover your stat lines or to find your kills. Your kills are, in fact, more complicated in general than a lot of other players in your team. So, yeah, it becomes hard to measure their value, measure their success rates. But yeah, they're a dime a dozen, but hard to find them sometimes.
Yeah, players who are willing to be selfless in nearly every single situation, right? I mean, for a while, I think there's a few famous ones. Sanji's one of them, whether he was forced into it or not, who knows.
Sure.
But, you know, Magic's more recently was that guy for quite a long time. Always, you know, publicly said, I don't care about my KD. Like, as long as I set up my teammates and help them, we win. Who cares? I should have found a way to get rid of Matthias there. That's a pretty critical 1-for-1 that he's able to take out of the round, considering he was pretty much pinched from both sides. So, Rebels starting to go into the game. Tomoko will take that trade, but 15 HP to spare. Utility is now a problem, and maybe the police is coming to get them.
Yep, coming to get me, I think.
Maybe.
Sailed right past me.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like, I know I live in London. I know it's common. It must be a certain path that all police and ambulances take, my road, like outside my road, because every cast, without fail, right past the house, full blaring siren. Unlucky.
Well, there's one right down me as well, so.
There you go.
Well, it does look like the Rebels could be in trouble. 2 players still here on B, but they don't actually have any real stalling utility. It's Bailani that takes that first contact and draws attention over to short, but Taper's caught by these flashes, and so can provide no support, gets his kill, but just leaves himself open to the window, and that will be the window of opportunity that Rebels were looking for on that B bomb site. They completely segment those 2 defenders.
Yep, Jaquinho and Quez off to save, and Rebels will still want to build up their money, so no reason to push it, no reason to hunt. So 5 players will stay alive for sure. Good work from Rebels. And as I kind of mentioned to you before, like, it's a kind of a weird map between these two. One of them has played it a lot more than the other, with Copenhagen Wolves having 22 played, Rebels only 6. But in the 6 that Rebels have played, they are quite good on their CT side. Their results are close, 13-11s, 13-9s, quite common. Yet, it's quite a discernible difference, 56% on their CT side compared to 47 on T. So if they get, a 7-5 out of this half, I think they're well set up, on average.
And I love me an average. But if they can actually meet that expectation, or perform above it, it's still yet to be determined. It's not like the Rebels can't win this half. From the fact that the Wolves have gotten off to these 5 rounds at the start of the half. It is nice, but it has to be maintained. There's an opportunity there, but Flay does find it. AWP does strike from top mid, but it is dealt with. So 1 for 1, and that M4 changes hands. Oh, Tomiko could find a timing, but instead he gets shot in the back of the head. Did not clear for sure in its entirety. Could have scaled up that bench just to get a glance and still maintain that pathing. And Jaquinho strikes on B, so they're getting picked apart. The Rebels are likely going to call this one off, actually. Completely separated. I mean, they've got resources, sure, but it's not as though they've really got the manpower to make a round like this work, unless something is gifted to them. They will try for a contact retake of middle, which is a gap. It is some open runway.
They've got good util as well.
It's just as soon as Tapeware takes contact topside con, Bailani will swing and likely trade, if not kill both.
Yeah, that's an insurance policy. What about timing, though? And there you go, that's the kill that will seal it. Almost goes down. Bailani actually had no armor, of course, as well. So only Jaquinho had some left over. So that's going to be very handy for Copenhagen Wolves. I mean, look at that. They've just found all 3 of the AKs on the ground, which was pretty much a half investment, if that. So yeah, huge for the money going forward to end off this first half of map 3.
Yeah, talk about a great investment. I mean, you're buying into what, a few pistols alongside saved weaponry, and you're coming away with more rifles than you started with. That's always going to look nice. I think the problem was, and it always is when you're in these massive man deficits, is if you don't continue on your attack line as you start in the default, then you're effectively flying blind. The most information you have is on that side of the map where you start, and when they reset, they are gambling. They are hoping for some kind of a critical error, and they almost found it. The fact that they got up con and bypassed that initial contact that Tapeware was supposed to take, it did create an opportunity for them. But again, it's just some. I think really we've seen Bailani come alive. I think on Nuke he was really more of a hindrance than an asset, but across the past 2 maps, we've seen some huge rounds from him, really. Yeah,
for sure. And now it feels awkward for Rebels. We said that if they can get 5, it would be nice, but this is an important round now. They've got the good util for it still, but Galil's in play, 3 of them to afford it. So it's towards CT early. Copenhagen Wolves seem happy enough to play a retake, just waiting for those smokes, but Rebels are actually not using them right now. They don't really have a second pump of utility, so they probably need to take advantage of it while they're up. Eventually they'll finally make their way in, but Jaquinho got one through the smoke in the meantime. Maybe there was a smoke broken to allow that. That was off camera. Quez, though, needs to react and does brilliantly to Kissarek's close range position near Ticket. Stays alive, waits for his teammates' rotation to come through towards CT. This is now almost impossible hold, it feels like, for Rebels.
Will Sobol swing, and will there be good contact? Flay does take his first shot with that AWP, and Sobol will find the play out from underneath default. into this 2-on-2 where they still maintain some position in Palace, but now dealt with. It's Flay and Ramp, and they know about him, and the smoke on the bomb does nothing to help Tapeware cross to the actual package.
Wow.
It was a difficult retake, a difficult post-plant to play there for Rebels, but from the 3-on-5, they still get it done.
Yeah, I mean, they actually just won every single opening duel they had in that retake, and that made it even in the late stage, and by that time had expired, there was barely any time left to get anywhere near a defuse, and in the end no attempt was made at all. Flay holds the line, important clutch kill, and that is a really impactful fourth, and I'm impressed they managed to keep hold of it. Oh. Yow.
Yeah, fantastic
ding.
shot there from Bailani, and Jaquinho able to swing out alongside him, but Mateos goes swinging round the window smoke that just recently recovered. It was starting to rebuild, so it's into a 3-on-3, which, you know, this could have been a man advantage for the Copenhagen Wolves to maintain. Instead, they're having to push for some information, take some ground elsewhere, and that's Tapeware that's moved through B. Oh, they fumble the boost into window, so they have to break it, and it's a free kill for Jaquinho. Even escape through the smoke.
Yeah, that smoke for Tomiko is maybe not as deep as he perhaps would have wanted it. It's awkward for Jaquinho where he is, don't get me wrong, but Tomiko, moving up, should check it, does check it. Finally realizing that he was body blocking a little bit there. They were hugging. And now, with where the bomb is, it's in a very good position to just make its way up. But that's a big catch from Quez. Flay now realizes what's going on. He's won a clutch, well, a couple of clutches to be fair, over the course of the series. 1-1v1 last time around, and a 1v2 on Ancient. He's another one of these right here, holding toward market at the moment. Quez actually and Tapeware splitting up. No kit available. Good angle for the up, but he's got to be so wary of that big flank coming through. Hasn't seen the head, but now he knows. Now he's got opportunity. He sees both. Great quick scope on Tapeware and a reposition immediately. Quez has an incendiary, but does he want to use it? He will. It's not spreading though, and Flay is just better, baby. That's what we wanted to see from our player to watch.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic clutch. Even when he gets caught off, it's still not enough to punish. You know, jumping and closing the gap, you'd think that would favor an SMG, but Flay is fast. That was just far too quick and very decisive in his clutch as well. Chose his positions from the start. As soon as he got that kill on the flank, knew about the player in market and instantly changed positions as well. I mean, it's fantastic. Another key clutch won by, yeah, our player to watch.
Yeah, Flay is, what a guy. Now, Rebels need to be a little bit careful.
Okay, what has happened here?
What? My brother in Christ, what has... They've just walked into angles, top mid, completely aimlessly. You see where Innocent was like pre-aiming there? It's like he wasn't ready for anyone to face him whatsoever on whatever angle. There was no... I say look where he was pre-aiming. He was pre-aiming angles that don't exist. And he got punished for it, rightfully. And Quez got 2. Jaquinho's got 1. Sobble stuck in con with a Mac 10. And he's whiffed as well because he fell down onto the stairs. From the marvellous to the ridiculous.
Yeah, from miracles to mutilation. A fantastic last round of the half for the Copenhagen Wolves. A 7-5 in our decider. Let's see who stays alive in the ESL Challenger League, Season 49.
Oh, that darkness, it won't set me back again. Oh, I'm not asleep or awake. I won't let the future escape. Take me back to you. Shake the ground. Oh, this lightness, it will fill the air around. Oh, I'm not asleep or awake. I won't let the future escape. Back to you.
Third map, second half, to eliminate one of these two from ESL Challenger League this season. In a long game, and I probably find ourselves in probably the best position to set up this final half of play. 7-5 to Copenhagen Wolves, and the pistol underway. They have been nutty on pistols so far. Can they make it 6 out of 6?
It would certainly be a start, but it's Tomiko that wins his fight inside of jungle. Mateus does find the trade, and Flay takes a shot to the head. So 4-on-4, but walking wounded is Flay. And there is a kit and the smoke available here on Sobel, but they have to be able to close that gap. Innocent, able to get it back to a man advantage. But it's an isolated duel now with Jakino inside of jungle. That kill likely determines the round. Kisarek, a full flank, a free kill. And now they can look to spring onto that bomb. In fact, they come in a calamity. A fast set of frags there for the Rebels to win their first pistol round of the series.
Yeah, looked a bit harem-scarum for a second, but once they had that flank from Kisarek, it all fell into place. And yeah, finally a pistol. They'll have been probably realising that themselves and be like, oh, finally. The right time too. I mentioned that their CT record on this map is very, very good compared to their T. So getting 5 is pretty decent for them, on average maybe for them to win the map. But of course they've got to deal with this round. They know they're giving up a plant. They know that Copenhagen Wolves will likely have something to work with. It's 4 kills and a Tech 9. Going for 4 rifles. Does mean you're very limited on utility though. Many flashes remaining, really. That's what that nerf, of course, to that money in that sort of round has done now. If you want to go for weaponry, you've got no util.
But dog forbid they win a pistol and the conversion.
Wouldn't that be something?
This will be the first time in the series.
Good catch.
First kill. Yeah. But they dealt with the sandwich player. Oh. I did not expect him to go down so quick, and yeah, they lose jungle too. So, I mean, fantastic job from Flay to get his 2, but he needed some help, some support, and Tomiko also just unprepared for the fight. A 1-on-3 here for Sobol, who had the kit from the prior round, but only it comes equipped with an MP9. They cannot win a pistol and the conversion. No. The Copenhagen Wolves answer right back.
Oh, goodness, man. I mean, Flay was going to feel so hard done by there, because, like, the fact he gets the first kill and the player flying out so cleanly gives him the time to react to the second Palace player and gets that one cleanly too. And then he's like, wait, you died? I know I died, but you died too? Wait, I thought we were in a good position. And everyone dies in the end.
The problem with playing sandwich is that, to be honest, you kind of have to bait. If you want the position to sell well, you do have to, you know, try and take a timing, and sometimes that won't work out with what your teammates are doing. So I can be a bit of an all-in position, but sometimes you can thrive as a result. Well, this was a total pushover round. There was nobody A, no one even close. Simple A exec, and the Wolves are in with a 9th. There will be still the threat of the force buy, quote-unquote, you know, retained force buy in the following round. Rebels have not expended much.
Well, usually the unicorn round is, you know, 10 players surviving and nothing going on. We actually almost get the full 1000 HP intact as well.
Not for that pesky bomb.
Doesn't count. It was after the round was over.
But how dare it?
Innocent, the only one actually taking any damage in that round during it being live. Crazy. I do think, you know, remember how most of us, I think, were like positive about MR12, thinking, oh, teams will save less because they've got less rounds to actually try and push to win. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
How naive.
How naive we were. Sure.
Oh! Just innocent men. And Kissarek's also fallen. He does get his kill at least. But they will be able to scale with those kills. It was not a full stack. The Rebels tried for something similar in the last round. They wouldn't do it twice in a row. But they're fast. They want to try and press the issue while that bomb is going down. They do some decent damage onto the planter. There's a couple players trapped inside of Palace. Good kill by Tateware, though. Gives a little bit more room for those Palace players to feel comfortable to swing and swing alongside their sightman. So, it will not be a round that gets away from them. It's some good damage. Flay a second frag, but he is being flanked. Bailani actually calls it off. He doesn't want to give him a long-range duel with that Deeg. There's no kit. There's nothing to really force the issue into this post-plant, but this is, I mean, some great damage, some great shooting from Flay thus far.
Oh, he almost is so ready to line that one up, wasn't he?
He was so patient with it.
Yeah, like, actually doesn't take his time. But when you try and take your time, that's usually what happens. That's been me lately. Taking my time on a spray and somehow one bullet doesn't hit and I've hit him for 96 in 4. Yeah, relatable. But yeah, great stuff from Copenhagen Wolves. They got double digits first. Flay trying his best, but no cigar. Maybe they're not innocent men. Maybe they're just normal men.
Yeah. Maybe. Seen some pretty quick execs here from the Wolves already in these opening rounds. They know that they were against pistols, and so try to use that to their advantage. It's a good nade over on B. So we'll just jump spotting, and I think still has yet to actually catch a whiff of Jaquinho. Otherwise, he probably would have stopped hopping around so much. But some util is missed. And so Jaquinho, in embarrassment, has moved away.
I'm sure he's red in the face right now.
Just hope nobody saw that.
They've shown some presence mid. They're going to walk off of it immediately. 4 back through spawn. Probably to prepare a normal A execute. I think for Copenhagen Wolves here, they are just thinking to themselves, okay, we know what happened in the previous map. We got it over the line. This is less of a lead, but a precious one. Let's keep things simple. Stick to a plan. Don't waver. Don't do anything ridiculous.
They're contacting up ramp into the AWP, and Flay was already in prime position. They had smokes, but they wanted to try and take this timing. And with that jungle smoke blooming, it actually serves to help Flay. Help isolate these angles now that he has to focus more on ramp and Tetris. It's Kisarek that wins his fight. And able to navigate around those flames, the nade will chase him. It's Innocent trapped at stairs, and with him dealt with, suddenly this A bomb site is going to feel smaller and smaller. They're all CT or inside.
Oh my god, Flay's playing Ninja though, with an AWP of all things. Suddenly, somehow it's a 1v1 time. 5 seconds, 4, 3. I don't think he's got it. Nope, he doesn't have it. Literally a tenth, maybe, is the difference. And Sobel can run away, win the round, and take an upgrade to an M4 as well. But then he will keep the AWP. That was crazy. Flay putting himself there. No wonder they didn't check it. There's no way you're expecting an AWP in that position.
Yeah, he was just ticket. we knew he was ticket. We expected maybe triple, but once there was no additional contact out from triple, Ninja with an AWP? Yeah, I mean, Flay is pulling off some unusual antics, but showing us a bit of that flash we were hoping for.
Huge round to win, but again, not to sound like a broken record, but you've got to say it. You survive with one player alive in a close round, and look what buy you have. I mean, it's actually painful to look at. 2 FAMASes, MP9, 2 M4s. You've nearly used all your util already. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, and not even able to retain the key focal points of the last buy. You can't get your hands back on that AWP. It's not like you have good rifles across the board or good util. So yeah, it's the worst thing that could happen to you while still winning. Back on. That's where they'll take the fight. Innocent goes down, but Jaquinho shoots Mateos in the back.
Oh no.
And all the meanwhile, Kisser is able to make use of that carnage. Belaini is actually caught between 2 fights and totally trapped inside of the
3
connector.
players.
He cannot escape. It is too wide to provide much sanctuary. They'll get chewed out in con, and partly with help from Jaquinho from behind.
Jaquinho's had such a good game as well overall. I feel like every single position he's been in to hit his shot, he has. But maybe he's taken that too literally.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Crazy. And now look who's got the low money. It was Rebels before with a rough buy. It was kind of a swing round in a way. And now Copenhagen Wolves have to make do with a Hero AK on by Lani. I'm sure a player that has played with many of these Rebels players in the past will know them very, very well. Now we have to take this singular AK and try and do as much damage as possible with it, because things have swung in that swing round.
I think what's most tragic about it is that Mateus got his kill, and then there was maybe a half-second gap, and then the TK happened. So
yeah,
it really was an unusual event. Like you said, unusual even for Jaquinho, who's, like you said, had a good game, but yeah, it couldn't have come at a more pivotal point.
Actually, do you think Jaquinho is also a good rifler on this map? Like, people have criticised him a lot in the past, probably rightfully so, but at this level, he does show good numbers and makes the right move, usually, as well.
Yeah, you can be critiqued in Tier 1, but that doesn't mean that you're not good enough to play at this level or even a little higher than that.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people get those opportunities too early in their careers, perhaps.
Yeah, Bermulov, example, maybe. More
Sure.
recent one. Right, Sobel, what have you got?
20 seconds.
What?
Oh, what? No! And the bomb is coming B! Wait, Sobel realizes that this is just one man, so he gave his position.
What?
He was hesitating. Oh my god.
I'm speechless. They've got the bomb down. Round over. I can't believe that. We were watching the B play. We were watching Sobel, thinking, okay, he needs to get at least 2 or 3 here. But then on the other side of the map, I look at the mini map and the kill feed at the same time. My eyes go inverted, or the opposite, outverted, whatever it's called. I don't know. I'm completely discombobulated right now. And Matthias gets 2 1-digs randomly. Flay lets him go to pick up the M4, and then he just gets another kill. He's convinced the bomb could come back still. But no.
To be honest, I got a little stun locked. Like, why the 8 players recognized one guy has found those kills and run immediately into the bomb site. Does that not reek of a lurker? Most likely. Like, if less than 20 seconds left on the round, Sobol hesitated. He was about to rotate market and then thought, wait, it's so late in the round. Why? Is it one guy? It seemed like complete panic. Like, fully just panic. And I think without that, Sobol probably just maintains his position, and as soon as they jump out apps, he probably has a chance to take a cleaner fight. Instead, by the time he gets back into B, they're already in the middle of site planting for short.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of explained what happened to Flay, but yeah, you've explained what happened to Sobol, and you tried to explain
Outrageous.
it, low-key. I still don't understand it, but we've watched what we've just watched, so there we go. And now it gives Copenhagen Wolves a stunning opportunity. Winning that round they should never have, in any stretch of the imagination. Matthias has again found an opening, and a second, and I feel like Rebels have become discombobulated after that round, because they're getting caught now. Innocent will run down Tate Pratt. It's a good one to find. That will be an AK picked up, but a lovely third kill for Matthias, especially one as well there, where he was kind of on the run, but checked the run for the perfect counter strafe. And it's a 4v1. Kissarek's got an MP9. It's 12 for Copenhagen Wolves. Rebels need 4 in a row with no econ.
I love, the last round because it's a perfect example of what makes Counter-Strike so beautiful is that you always see just new things happen. Like, no situation is ever the same. But then we get the quick reminder of what Counter-Strike is in large part, and a confidence game. That was one of those rounds that got completely away from Rebels. Mateus took fights and won them all, and he's done much the same in this round. Flew out mid, nice strict crosshair placement, was in the right spots, and he's going to get knifed. I love Counter-Strike. So confident that he would never hesitate to check his flank, but lo and behold, there was Kisarek. Being a rat.
No, genuinely, it's critical money. Like, it makes total sense in this situation.
For sure.
Yeah. Because he can actually drop an M4 now. There we go. Gives him 2 rifles to work with rather than just the 1.
But from Mateus getting 3 kills in the round prior to then now swinging mid, full confidence on the mid take, where, sometimes we've seen them hesitate around those smokes, set up top mid, set up in more standard mid control with no pace. This was, I think, a full just confidence call off from Mateus's form there. And it really showed.
Listen, I'm gonna check what I said earlier. Sure, over the course of the series, maybe he has got about, 13, 14, 15 eco kills. But, you know what? I think he's got something about him, Matthias. The first time I've watched him today, I think he's very willing to be aggressive on whatever round, actually. And first bullet, clean.
Yeah, because the names are similar, my brain was like, oh yes, it's basically like Mattis again.
Oh my goodness. They tapeware flicked there at the end. He was like shocked that he just got a player right in front of his eyes. You could tell it with the player model movement, but Copenhagen Wolves are trying to close it out. Tapeware, see, every round's different. What did you say? Every round in Counter-Strike is different. Nothing is ever the same. And now Kisarek, well, he needs a clean 1v4. I think I know for a fact this ain't gonna happen, but we've seen crazy things. This would probably be the craziest yet. He's being pelted by utility. It's going to be Rebels. I'm afraid we'll get eliminated from ESL Challenger League Season 49. By then he will hit the headshot, and somehow, some way, Copenhagen Wolves, with this mishmash of a roster, have kept themselves alive this season.
Yeah, and from getting blitzed on Nuke, devastated in that opening map of the series. Sure, it was the Rebels' pick, but the veto was expected. They had some good setups, and then they got picked apart round by round by round into an Ancient where Rebels fought really hard for a comeback, and Copenhagen Wolves looked like they were gonna seed at the whole best of 3 as a result of having this massive lead into this late stage resurgence in confidence. There's a lot of hesitation, a lot of real mass consideration, and it seemed like towards the end of the game, Copenhagen Wolves simplified, and it ended up winning them the game after they came away with some crazy rounds. I think it's hard to say this best of 3 didn't have multiple swinging moments that pivoted who had the advantage any different way.
I mean, Flay had
all over the place.
Exactly. Flay had 3 or 4 separate clutches, right? I mean, 1v2 on this map on B site, that was very impressive. Probably one of the best rounds of the game. Had one on Ancient, which was a weird one with a possible almost accidental lineup with his teammate. got headshot through his teammate, I believe, to take collateral damage, but still survived and won the clutch. And yeah, this is well, Rebels will feel upset because they're in a good position toward the end of that Mirage. I mentioned they're pretty decent on CT historically, but yeah, just that one round completely threw them off their game, and it's got Copenhagen Wolves the win in the end. Our player to watch was Flay. We've touched on him quite a lot, and as everybody said, he had a good series overall. But I'm afraid it's all in vain, Michael.
Yeah, and it was the new addition, or temporary gap filler in Mateus that ended up stealing the show in a lot of ways. But yeah, Flay put up his numbers, and he's a little bit pedestrian on Nuke, but this is an AWPer that always just kind of does his job and his role and doesn't really have to push much further outside of that, except when we're finding him in clutches, it's clear.
Exactly. And very much looking forward to seeing him play again, but we won't be seeing him in ESL Challenger League again, I'm afraid. Copenhagen Wolves will go through to the next round of the lower bracket, and I do believe, I'll check it right now, they play Aurora. Yes, they do, who made it through against Monty in actually quite easy fashion in the end. It seemed like they knocked the stuffing out of Monty after winning the first map 22-20 on Ancient 13-5. So comfortable for Grix. Grix actually went plus 29 in that series. On Mirage, that 22-20 game, he dropped a 46-22 masterclass. That's what we've been seeing from Grix lately, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him in Challenger League. But we are done for today, and it's been a pleasure to join you on the mic, Michael, and hopefully we'll get a chance to do another one of these soon. But I'll speak to you guys very soon for more ESL Challenger League action.
Bye.
final jeans from a previous